79T 2458 Learning Corp. Little Red Riding Hood. Take one.
40 years of my life is in the wire that's gone. Does that make sense?
Where they say there are Indian people pooping on our beach.
It's a spool of wire. 40 years of my life is in the wire that's gone.
Yeah, it's a spool of wire, and it's gone. There's nothing you can do about that. Hey. Hi. I've finally got my copies in. Dude. Ugh. I hate this time, man. I mean, I love this time, but I hate this time. It's the first 3 months is where, at least from what I've seen, half of the book sales happen. And then the other half are like the long tail. But for the first month, like, you just have to sit there and hope and watch. And it's doing great. And I'm thankful that everybody is enjoying it. Like I said, it's the one thing that's bothered me since I very first started, left the corporate world behind, decided to try my luck yelling at Whammon online, and God, it couldn't have gone better. But one thing I hated was like people who wrote merch books, even nonfiction. Like, there's somebody in this space, I'm not going to mention who, but, you know, fans will probably know. It was like 100-page book with one sentence per page. It was like Dr. Seuss for men going their own way, and it was just ridiculous. And I just thought, like, this is stupid, man. What are we doing here? Like, what are we doing? Of course, then I had this, like, and most of you guys have this too. It's like, this place is such a shithole. It's such a shithole. Such a shithole. And then I start getting exposed to other places. Oh, I see the music scene. And then you see the video game scene. And then you see like this video game and that video game. And movies. And every scene. It turns out they're all exactly the same. And where I was here thinking that the red-pilled space was the one full of all the goofy morons that couldn't tie their shoes and all that. No, it's just people. It's just people. And then I went to sleep that night and I slept like a baby. I was at peace. And you can too. Anyways, Siege D, $4.99 super chat. 1 cent short of a heartfelt because you're a good man, sir. Bought both the hardcover and paperback of Softbone to get Couch to come to Vegas. Still reading the Dog Walker though. Oh man. Well, I appreciate it. If you guys don't know, this is the hardcover. Right here. It's I actually did a separate design. This one's more of like a conceptual cover. Two-tone, black and white. Very different from the soft cover, which... One second. Yeah. I didn't want people just to think it was like in different formats. I wanted to offer a slightly different experience, and that's going to give a different reading experience. I know it seems weird to like, oh, the cover, it's this different cover, but it's the same book. Yeah, but it will read differently. I don't know how to explain it other than a story of wine. So my brother came to visit me. This was a while back, and he brought me a bottle of wine and poured it for all of us. And we're like, oh, well, thank you very much. He goes, yeah, it's like a $200 bottle of wine. We're like, what the hell are you doing? He goes, it's fine, whatever. I got money. And so we're drinking the wine. And we're like, oh, this is really good. And then he kind of whispers to me after we're done. He's like, just, you know, it was like $12 or $16. I was like, you son of a bitch. Anyways, that's not the moral of the story. The moral of the story is we went to the LCBO a couple weeks later. We're like, dude, let's get that wine. That was really, really good. And we got it again. Didn't taste as good. So yeah. And then if you guys have gotten the first print, you notice the cover is slightly different. Slightly different. I don't know what it was. I just looked. I'm like, you know what? I want to zoom that in just a touch. And then amplify the red so it's got that red and green. A very difficult color scheme to pull off, by the way, because Christmas has been so popular throughout the West that to pull off a red and green thing and not have people instantly think Christmas is a milestone achievement. I was expecting yellow glasses and a pink hat. No, not today. I've been chill. Technically, my hair's getting close to samurai hair at this point, so it's kind of like, what's the point of growing your hair out if you're just going to wear a hat or a beanie or a do-rag or whatever? Anyways, the RAR weekend on the Comet channel, they're showing Jurassic Park all weekend long. Oh, just the first one? Because I'm not going to lie, out of all the series I've watched that has, like, shit the bed since the very first one, Jurassic Park, I would put up there. Like, even Highlander. Highlander 3 may have sucked, and people may have a very weird opinion of Highlander 2, which I think was one of the best. But at least the Highlander Endgame was like a really good, heartfelt one for fans of the show. But Jurassic Park, it was just, yeah, we made a good one. Let's milk this thing. Let's turn it into season 35 of The Simpsons for like 10 different ones. It's just ridiculous. But the first one was good. And I'll like say what you want about Spielberg, but in the 80s and 90s, he had his shit on lock. He did. Like, I had forgotten. My girl was watching Hook last night. Like, oh, I forgot about this movie. And then I realized, dude, it's like an all-star cast and a little children's story. The moral of the story being the baby boomers realizes their biggest problem was that they didn't act like children. What a great moral message. Anyways, this got nothing to do with the show, though. I'll get into that. That one was, if you've seen the thumbnail, you kind of might have an idea what I'm talking about. If you don't, I got led down a rabbit hole. Stream of conscious rabbit hole. It's absolutely insane. First things first, I've had some revelations about social media, the way the changes have happened in the last 2 years, the post-COVID era. So COVID was great for social media because everybody had nothing to do, so everybody was online. Everything got a boost. The podcast scene, like the Myrons and the whatevers, those guys all did bank. Comedy podcasts, like your Bill Burr and all the Joe Rogan guys, they went crazy. And everybody had their peak moment, and then everybody got allowed to go outside again, and this stuff's all kind of dropped off, and everybody's kind of becoming crazy right now because, damn it, nobody's spending their entire waking day watching that Sam Hyde podcast or something like that. So everybody's freaking out. Well, Sam's actually doing good. I shouldn't use him as an example. I should use that idiot, the one that always dick rides Joe Rogan. Anyways, whatever. So it's pretty funny to watch everybody kind of scrambling. And then I realized a lot of the social media changes, it's not to be social media. It's to be siloed. You're technically an advertisement for the social media platform. And you've seen it. Like Twitter, for example. And if you're wondering what this has to do with Red Pill, I'll get to that. Don't worry. There's a point to this. Like, no more links going out, no more this, no more that. And I've noticed, like, everybody's growth is stagnated too. Everybody. Like, nobody gains followers anymore. It's now like Twitter is the brand and you are the brand ambassador, which is fucked. Kind of reminded me of old graphic design days when everybody was like, yeah, we'll pay you an exposure. Like, what the fuck? Who wants to get paid an exposure? Anyway, so this leads me to the Red Pill thing. There is this show. And here's the thing. First thing, I don't know what show it is. I tried to find it. There's like 18 clones of it. There was two groups, a group of guys and a group of girls. And they put a curtain between them. Because whatever. Because Love is Blind. But for Zoomers. And then the one girl gets up and she says what she's looking for in a guy. And then the guys, if they're interested. It's kind of like a televised version of the old... If you guys are any of you from like a Christian Puritan environment where they had like the dances, the boys on one side, the girls on one side, you walk up, do the asking, and then the parents monitor it to make sure you're not going to do anything stupid like fall in love. Oh, it is horribly manufactured. We're getting there. So I thought that's kind of wholesome. You took the Fresh and Fit model and you wholesomized it. So whatever. Anyways, there's this chick. She's a redhead. I'm going to go on a limb and say not very attractive. She's kind of, there's a internet jargon for it called quirk chungus. You can go look that up if you want to. Anyway, she's redhead. She's wearing these big frumpy Zoomer jeans. She's got a sweater vest on and a shirt underneath it. She's got like a hunch, kind of troll-like, kind of like Olive Oil from Popeye, if you remember that. Anyway, she's like, I just got my scuba diving passport. I love to travel. And it was like nailing red flag after red flag if you've ever listened to like Manosphere crap. And I'm just looking for a good boy. And then none of the guys got up. And then I was like, oh, okay, so that's pretty standard schlock Manosphere stuff. Girl, super entitled, loves to travel. Basically all these hidden signals that, oh, she probably gets a lot of dick. And then the guys show they're not interested. The narrative is set. The narrative is guys aren't putting up with it anymore. The MGTOW narrative. You remember the MGTOW guys talk about if soon as they understand, women are out. Yeah, the status quo always wins. Once everybody understood, they're like, dude, I can market the shit out of this MGTOW stuff. And so they did. They marketed the fantasy. And everybody bought into it. And, you know, I'm just the brand guy. So, like, what do you have to do? Oh, the new thing is really popular right now. Let's get some Elon bucks, make a snarky comment on it. Very Reddit-tiered approach to it. And I've kind of been walking back from it because once I've realized, like, oh, dude, it's like we're just brand ambassador for Twitter and he's throwing us out. He throws like $100 a month. I'm like, why am I wasting effort on this shit? Who cares? So that's going to be my new revelation in the coming months is like, who cares? What would I actually care about if it was free? You know? Because they're not giving you followers and the money's not worth it, so fuck you. Anyways. So now, as the trend progresses, I start to see this like rabbit hole of marketing exposed in front of me. And what is the red pill if not being savvy at marketing? Because what's the first thing you learn, at least from the single and Rolo side of things? The Disney fantasy, right? Your parents lie to you, marketing lies to you, movies lie, everybody's lying to you. So it's about detecting deception. And what's marketing if not deception on some level? You have to lie to somebody, otherwise they don't need a widget. I need to make you need a widget. How do you do that? Make it up. You know? So you get a little bit into it and you realize somebody else put a thread up showing, hey, just so you know, this guy edited it in such a way that you didn't think there was a curtain between them. And you thought they were just looking at her, realized she was ugly and said, whatever. Turns out there's a curtain in there. So nobody can see nothing. They can only just hear her talk about that stuff. And she sounded annoying. I'm like, oh, that's interesting. Somebody lied on the internet. Fell for it again award, granted. And then, of course, you look underneath it. Well, skip to like 3 minutes ahead in that episode. And in that episode, there's some guy. He looks like a normal, decent-looking guy. Like, nothing wrong with him. There's no incel vibes at all. And then she's being really snarky in her chair, telling him to sit the fuck down. And I was like, oh, okay, now I get it. Now, well, she's a bitch. Don't feel bad for her. And I was like, the narrative continues. It wouldn't even... It's like I've seen it 500 times with 500 different things. If anybody's been online, you've seen it too. And then here's the thing. So that part was funny enough. So bam, lie, false narrative. Don't feel bad for her. Everybody's kind of jabbing in their own little things. And it all seemed designed to something I've seen way back in The Last Psychiatrist's blog post, if you remember his. There was this one article he did. I cannot remember the name of it, but he was talking about the story of a dad who got onto Facebook. It's an older article. Went onto Facebook, and his daughter was doing something. I don't remember what it was. It was like messaging. She was underage, messaging older men or something like that. Anyways, he wasn't happy about it, so he put her laptop on the thing, on video, shot the damn laptop, as like good parenting. And he would notice like all the comments were like, yeah, this dad's a good dad, and this dad's a horrible asshole, and everybody had drawn their battle line and was in there. And he goes, like, what are we doing here? You know, what are we doing here? Obama chimed in on the thing, and he goes, yeah. So like when you look at this stuff, you got to realize this is how the system wins. Now, I don't know what he meant by the system in there, but the idea was it wasn't so much that. It's that, why are you telling the internet your opinion? Why aren't you telling your kids your opinion, right? I have kids at home. If they want to message, 25-year-old men when they're 16, I maybe want to have a talk with them. But no, people didn't want to have talks with their kids. They didn't have talks with their friends or their family. They wanted to broadcast it on the internet. Why? Like, why there? When it's way more effective to tell that to your children that you don't want doing it to. But they're in the other room already texting that guy on the Roblox, which apparently is pedo platform, who I did not know. Oh, I mean, I kind of knew, but I thought that was overblown, but apparently not. Apparently you go where the kids go. It's like Minecraft for Catholic priest vibes on there. Minecraft for female teachers. The Catholic priest joke's a bit old, but the female teacher one's just getting started. Yeah, and it's not so much that you have to, it's like, you need to care. You need to care about this thing. I need you to get emotional, to get angry, to be happy, to be subversive, whatever. Just a very strong opinion. And a lot of the times, when I chime in on these things, it's a very irreverent opinion, as my way of kind of bucking the system and articulating, sometimes you don't have to care. There's a blood feud 3,000 miles away in the Middle East, and you don't have to care about which side is genociding the other ones. It doesn't matter. It doesn't. It really doesn't. What matters more is they're protesting outside my goddamn building and I can't get out during a baseball game. That's what matters. So I take a step back and I look, and we're all advertising this. So basically this show is getting a giant ad from us. And you know the funniest part? I don't even know what show it is. I have no idea. I tried looking it up, like keyword searches and stuff, like chick, scuba diving, dating show, curtain. There's like 7 of them. 7 of them on 7 different channels, and they're all big. And it's all just ripped off slop, and it's like Marvel movies. You guys ever you remember I guess you don't remember this one. I'm so on tangents today. I feel like I'm doing a Rolo 4-hour live stream. It was during the Scorsese argument about Marvel stuff being a theme park and not cinema, and everybody else getting mad. And I don't remember. I have source amnesia for this, but the point was Marvel doesn't have actors. They have brands. So in other words, you don't care about Chris Evans. He's Captain America, and Captain America is the brand. And so the actors can't take their roles from the Marvel Cinematic Universe and leverage it into an acting career, like back in the day when, Tom Cruise would do Rain Man. And like, oh wow, he's pretty good. Let's make him do Days of Thunder. It's like, that stuff doesn't exist. You're in Marvel and that's your thing. And then when you leave, you leave. You're no different than the guys who dress up as Darth Vader at the theme park and dance around with lightsabers. Do you get me? And it's very odd that, like, I've already known everything is kind of designed right now to kind of steal your attention. Rent-seeking behavior for your attention. Your apps do it. YouTube does it. YouTube Shorts, TikToks, they're all designed not to entertain you, not to inform you. They're designed to steal your attention. Video games, same thing. Everybody wants your attention. Even your wife in the other room. Honey, come here for a minute. I'm watching a podcast. I have 30 minutes of quiet. I just want to enjoy it. No, come here. And it's like constant. I want your attention. The whole world wants your attention. That's the most red-pilled thing ever, too, when I realized it clicked. I want to say it was Ultimate Cad, which, if you guys don't remember him, he's an old head. He's the unk of the red pill. This one might have been Royce. Yes, this one was Royce, the ultimate unk. It was the world, everything in the world wants something from you, and they're going to get it by manipulating, by hook or by crook, and you're going to get the short end of the stick in the end. So your job is to sharpen up that son of a bitch and stab anybody in the heart that gets in your way. I was like, that's interesting. This whole red pill thing kind of ties back into everything. Even look, single guy, you're not getting laid. You need to get laid. You need to start working out, build some charm, dress better, look better, act better, move to a place where more women are. There's that side of things. Then there's the none of the girls will settle down with me. How do I get a girlfriend stuff? And it's like, yeah, you can sort that one out too as best you want. Maybe it's just like, stop trying. If they want you, they'll find you. Just be the guy that they're trying to lock down. And then you get locked down. It's like, oh, now this relationship is a pain in the ass. How do we deal with that? And then you got the married red pill stuff. Here's your frame. Here's your dread. Here's your mental models here. And like, God knows, I've spoken about this stuff for years. So it's not like I don't get it and I don't know. But there is a point, if you're at all competent, that you're going to have everything sorted out. You've made your choices. You could get laid anytime. You're settled down if you want to be. You got a family if you want to be. None of the stupid stuff you see applies to you anymore. And you kind of look back and you're like, oh, these nerds, why don't they just, draw the fucking owl and get laid? And that happens. We all forget what the old times were. That we're designed that way. Otherwise it'd be neurotic messes. But then fine. You're sitting there. You got your wife. Your kids are off at school. You're sitting down. You're like, I just want to chill and entertain myself because, you know, I can't earn any more money today, so I'm just going to sit back and relax. And then you realize whatever screen or book you want to get is like, hey, let's start this all again. Hey, I got Orc City. John's here. How's it going, brother? I was actually just getting to the book part on this one. And it's like, look, it's not just YouTube. It's not just TikTok. It's not just the screens. It's not just Twitter. It's not just Substack. It's not just anything. It's everything. I was doing some research because I'm like, all right, I'm going to, you know, market Softbone. Instead of just getting straight to writing the next book, I'm just going to market it because that's apparently what you're supposed to do for the first year it's out. Which nobody told me that. I was just like, I just keep writing. So I find there's a bunch of smaller author platforms that you can kind of go on. There's one's called Royal Roads. Anyway, there's a genre out of there called Lit RPG. And if you've ever heard of this stuff, it's oh my god. I don't know what to say. It is like a Dungeons and Dragons tabletop RPG setting written down. Like you'll read the book and the first half of the book is just like, here's the stats of all the characters. Here's the economic system of this, and this guy's going through this, and it reads like somebody's just describing their tabletop session. Yeah, Lit RPG. And it's not a niche. I was checking for Softbone. How's it doing in Cyberpunk? It's like number 93 in Cyberpunk. Not bad for a start. I figured, you know, I got to beat Gibson. Gibson's not an easy win. But it ends up being not even Cyberpunk. There is about 14 of these Lit RPGs from this one guy on there that are the top 14 spots. I'm like, what the fuck? Yeah, fantasy for video game nerds, literature with gaming mechanics. I mean, the literature is doing a lot of heavy lifting there. It's not literature at all. It's about as good as literature as Choose Your Own Adventure is, but the author chooses the adventure for you. And I fell down a rabbit hole again. I was like, oh my god. So you look at this guy. He's got, like, out of 14 books, 5 of them are in the top 1,000 of Amazon books for sale, which is insane. If you don't know the way the ranking system works, like anything under 100,000, you're probably like doing decently well with it. Anything under 10,000, you're doing like numbers. I mean, serious numbers, like $1 million bestseller numbers. And it wasn't just that. Somebody's like, yeah, check out the author. So I check out the author. The author's on Royal Roads. And that's how I found out about that place. And I'm like, holy shit, he's getting this many views and he's doing this many things. I tried to read it. I can't do it. It's fucking brutal. Like, it's bad. It's like a bad movie, but like you want to watch it and goof around with your friends, but like you can't. You're just like, I can't. Then he's got a Patreon. Guess how much he makes on his Patreon by sending these guys chapters every week. This is going to blow your mind. I'm actually kind of worried about saying this because you're going to spit your coffee on your family and they're going to be very mad and your life's going to divorce you and you're going to live in a van by the river and you're going to die. All because I told you this number. And I don't want to have that on my conscience. All right, you've been warned. You've been warned. $80,000 a month. $80,000 a month. I want to put that in perspective. Jordan Peterson, at the height of his fame, do you remember that? When he had his Patreon and he decided because they were doing some free speech stuff that he was going to take it off, he was earning 20. And at the time, Peterson was a worldwide phenomenon. Worldwide phenomenon. Quarter of as popular as Lit RPG slop. Fucking insane. And you read it, and I'm telling you right now, it's exactly what you think it is. It is, how much time can I take from you with as little effort on my line as possible? I have to believe a lot of it is AI generated because it's just too prolific. These 14 books, by the way, the first one was written in 2022. 3 years, 14 books. It's like 5 books a year. 5 books a year means one every like 3 months. Technically it's possible, but it's at the top end. It's like the Michael Jordan of writing. Yeah, I once heard a saying, even hacks get paid. But I mean, he's meeting a market need, so I can't fault him on that one. If anything, like, I don't think I could do it. It's actually, I would assume it's either, you have to be very stupid or very smart to write lit RPG, and I'm neither. I can't do either. Maybe I could if I practiced, but it would just like kill. I worked my whole life to be literate, and now it's like, yeah, throw that away. See, now that was the first thing I thought too. When some hacks is in here saying, well, maybe it's just you got a couple whales or like a sponsor or something like that. That's what I thought. But then you look at the numbers. He's got something like 26,000 people paying for it. So they're paying like $5 a month. It's not a huge thing. Yeah, and I wish it was something cool like the Choose Your Own Adventures. There's another one. I just looked up the series. It's like Road Warrior. It was like a tabletop one, but it's kind of like a Choose Your Own Adventure. But then it's like, it tells you, hey, this is the conflict you're in. Roll your D20. If you pass your intelligence check, go to this page. If you don't, go to this page. So it's essentially somebody doing a tabletop RPG session as the DM, but the writing is the DM. This one isn't that. Oh, dude, you don't even know. You can go check for yourself. Just go to Amazon's page and you go check the rankings for Cyberpunk, and you'll see it right there. It's just insane. And I think that's what gets me. For me, I'm like, that's annoying because now I have to compete against that. And it's not even Cyberpunk stuff. He's talking about like fantasy. It's D&D fantasy. He just wrote the word Cyberpunk at the bottom. I'm like, fuck. God damn it. But again, whether it's a redhead 4 talking about her scuba diving courses, whether it's a book talking about the the crafting table, all this stuff. Yeah, I mean, AI, technically from what I've seen though, AI is more slopping out shit in the fantasy literotica realm. Like a lot of women seem to be coming up with literotica AI stuff. I don't even know if it's any good. There was this recent guy talking about how he made like $1 million by releasing 1,000 books in a year because of AI, to which everybody fucking hated him. But he never put any of his books out, so I think he's making that up. But I've seen a lot of these guys who have like, there's even a okay, Substack. There was this one guy kept commenting under everything I ever put on the notes app, which I'm like, whatever. There's always going to be a guy who's like very prolific and listening to stuff. That's fine. One of these days, I'm like, all right, I got to see who the fuck this guy is. So I click his thing. He's got like a link to his Amazon page. I go click it, and the first thing I see. So you know my cover of Dread, right? The cartoon of the guy, the girl's feeding him a sandwich. They're both happy with the thought bubbles. That was the cover of the book. I'm like, what the fuck? He took it and he made it plastic. That's the only way I can describe it. An AI image, my book cover, plastic. And it was talking about Dread. It wasn't worded. Like, it was worded to the point where you're like, yeah. That's the kind of guy who's got like an SEO aligned thing on it. So I'm like, what the fuck is this? And he's kissing my ass. And I'm like, dude, stop brown nosing me. Just talk like a person. And he starts brown nosing again. So I've just blocked him. And then I already had his thing open. So now I'm checking it. And I'm like, oh my God, he's got, again, 2022. Everybody started around 2022. I'm starting to think, never trust an author whose first book came out in 2022. That's the AI year. AI year post-COVID. And he had he also had like 20 books or something like that. And they were all over the place. Some were like 200 pages, some were 500 pages. The topics were all over the map. There was some red-pilled stuff. There was some like self-improvement stuff. There was all kinds of stuff. And I'm realizing it's just some Indian slop farmer. But again, he doesn't want to tell a good story. He doesn't want to articulate a body of knowledge that he learned. He just wants as much of your attention and money as he can. That's it. Nakedly third world grifter attitude, and it's just, that's where we're at right now. And I looked every time now I got that picture of the redhead that's on this thumbnail. That's going to be my poster child for I want to steal your fucking soul. Give it. Exactly. And this is something I really feel for the boomers, because the boomers are going to have to harden or not the boomers, the zoomers. They're going to have to harden the fuck up. The boomers don't care. They just seem happy to be oblivious through it. Who cares? Gen X is cynical enough that they probably just don't even go online to care. I don't give a shit. You can do all the AI slop you want. I'm just going to go read Gibson for the 30th time. I'm going to read Dune again. Millennials, it's a toss up, man. For every global war on terror millennial that's kind of like me and is fucking over this. There is a Harry Potter blue-haired millennial that is eating this shit up. Yeah, I want attention too, but I'm willing to be retarded for it. Are you not entertained? Well, see, now, what you're doing, John, and what I'm doing is different. We kind of respect the user's time. And that's something that's... It's not required, but I think it's the value add that makes everything worthwhile. It's kind of like, I need to be able to live with myself. I need to be able to go to sleep at night. If I just put slop together and threw it out to you guys and pitched it to you like it was some e-grifter course and like, as long as I got your money, I don't give a fuck. Like the Anthony Johnson shit. I gotta take the money, but I wouldn't be happy with it. And I guarantee you, the better I did, the more I'd start picking up vices like drinking or what's Jack Murphy's one? The sitting in the cuck chair, being hetero flexible. Like, I get it. When you see these stories, like from last week when I was talking about all those conservative chicks that were getting finger blasted in the Turning Point USA thing, yeah, they're time stealers. They're trying to suck your time from you. That has a heavy cognitive load. So when you get someplace where you get to relax, of course you're going to have Japanese levels of like degeneracy. You got a mental load that's placed on you, a debt, and you have to get rid of it somehow. And it's the easiest way to get rid of feeling like a piece of shit are hardcore vices. Who'd have thunk? The Zoomers are in the wireless under fem law. They kind of are. They kind of are. I'm not even joking. They kind of are. But yeah, they're gonna be a sink or swim generation, man. It's either all or nothing with them. You're either gonna learn to completely shut out all of this time wasting, rent seeking RPG shit. They might even go back. Like I heard a rumor that some of them are going back to like flip phones. They had crazers and shit. And I'm like, I get it. I get why you'd want to. Me, I'm like, I like texting too much, and I can just turn off the notifications. I think that was the beginning of the end. Actually, here, I got a question for you guys. Let me know in chat. I'm looking at chat right now. Let me know. Do you actually have your phone on anymore? Mine's on silent permanently. I cannot turn it on for multiple reasons. And I used to love the custom phone stuff. I remember when OnePlus One first came out, the very first one. I changed all of my ringtones. Like every person on my thing had an individual ringtone. The notifications were different depending on the app. And I brought in custom stuff. They were all chiptune shit like Mega Man 2 and Battletoads, like all the different tunes from all that stuff. I'd bring that in. And everything was good and it was all there and it was so much fun. And then I don't know when it happened, but there was one point where I realized the thing is constantly beeping and I can't get anything done. If I get a phone call, it's from a scammer. If I get I have so many texts that have promised me $80 in Bitcoin. Letting the third world onto the Canadian telecom network has been a mistake. I don't answer texts. If they have a link, I just delete them and I block them. If it's a phone call, unless I know the person on the other side, I do not answer it. I do not answer it. Every time I've broken that rule, I've regretted it. And it happens just enough in an 8-hour workday that you cannot get into your flow state. Yeah, there we go. Noise is too distracting. I have mine on silent. Silent, no notifications, just a few phone calls ring. Mine is on, but I guard things like my email and address and phone number. That's the problem, man. It only takes once. I do the same, but it only takes once. Or if a hack happens, oh my God. If you have your email on a social media site, like if you're on the T app, where then we're doxing guys, you got to remember, it's not just your personal information people have. They have your email address too, and they're going to sell that shit to email lists, and all of a sudden, one list turns into 10. Yeah, if I don't know the number, it's 99% a scam. Exactly. Life has become so physically safe that the danger is from mental illness. See, I don't even know if mental illness is the right way to put it, because it's not an illness. It's not a disease. There's no blood test you can take for bipolar. There's no PET scan. There's no mammogram for it. There's nothing. It's just somebody has to ask you some questions, infer what's going on in your head, check a chart, and then tell you that's either healthy or unhealthy. Which I think the APA has way too much power to be able to define who's crazy enough in the head. I think a lot of it is just the way the human mind, within range, reacts to stimulus. We have an external stimulus. So yeah, you ever notice how the most people that are depressed tend to have some shit going on in the environment that's not ideal? Probably a factor in it. Why are soccer moms drinking so much? Why are they taking over as the binge drinking champions? Did you ever think that might be because being a stay-at-home mom has fucking nothing to do? They're just bored all fucking day. And that's why they turn into neurotic helicopter mom, alcoholic, drunk, cheating whores. It's like, oh, at least it's something. Yeah. But here's the point, Winsome Hacks. You're telling me all these great things you're doing to bypass all this stuff. The fact that you have to do it is proof of what I'm talking about. And I know some people are going Luddite over that. And that's, you can do that if you want to. Some people are going hyper technical. It's like, all right, set up a proper thing, proper firewall. I've been part of the Harmonized Threat and Risk Assessment School. If you guys don't know, I actually have a CSIS qualification for that. I've been trained by the Canadian CIA in threat and risk assessment. But one thing we've kind of internalized is that your perimeter is too large now. It is. It's impossible with the internet to maintain a perimeter. A perimeter means anywhere there's an access point. Somebody can get access to you from your phone, visit your house, whatever. Normally what you used to do is you would just protect the perimeter. And that's what like Winsome Hacks is doing. Okay, leave my address private, keep the door locked, stuff like that. Your phone, don't give out my phone number, don't give out my email address. That's a perimeter thing. But the perimeters have gotten so large now, it's impossible. And so the idea is you're supposed to switch to asset protection. Your perimeter will always be compromised because you're not smart and thorough enough to be able to get everything. It's a human impossibility. So now that you know that, why would somebody want in your perimeter? Well, they want access to things. What is the things? Your attention, your family, money, theft stuff, maybe make you click a link, whatever. So you just look at your assets and you're like, what do you want from there? And this is kind of one of those things that ties back into the red pill. That whole, anytime somebody talks about their sex life problems or relationship problems, it's always, what do you want? What do you want? What is it you want? Like to have an internal value system, have an ethical framework that works for you. Not something that was given to you, not something that's beneficial to women or anything like that, something that's yours. This is mine. I've built it on myself. It's built for me. It's bespoke to my needs. It handles the things in my life that are done right. And as soon as it stops doing so, I'm going to ditch it. Right? Very bespoke. That's kind of your own internal ethical framework. And then once you have that, what you will put up with, what you won't put up with, then you can start protecting your assets. And like I said, it's turning your phone on silence, changing your email addresses on this. It's not letting a girl waste your time because God knows. Yeah, we're talking about social media. And I don't want to give you the airplane food, am I right? Comedian shtick here. But it's with girls too. Like how many of you guys, how many of you guys have been dating a girl that was an absolute cock tease, wasting your time? She goes on dates. She's like hypersexual. As soon as you start talking to her, she's talking about blowjobs and shit. You're like, oh my God, this girl's great. And then as soon as you make a move, there's some excuse or something comes up. And then you realize after like 3, 4, 5 dates that, dude, this chick is just milking me for everything. Promising me she's DTF and then not delivering. And then you get mad. Like, oh, this fucking bitch. It's like, dude, she didn't force you to be there. You could have left at any time. You chose to opt into your own manipulation. You chose to waste your own time. And it kind of makes you sad. You're like, fuck, you're right. And then you realize, hey, how about I just start valuing my time? The problem's not her being a cock tease. The problem is you don't value your own time. And if you're inexperienced, I get it, because you don't know what your time is worth, because nobody's ever tried to actually take it from you, pay for it before. Guys who are fucking Chad incarnate out there, they absolutely know that. They've seen a girl where they're like, let me just drop my boyfriend off at home and then I'll come by and, fool around. And you're like, oh, I'm kind of going to bed. She goes, okay, fine. Throws him in a cab. Let's go. Like, that's somebody who's actively working to get your attention. And it turns out when your attention is scarce and valuable, they are willing to make sacrifices to get it. And those sacrifices are your internal barometer of your own worth. I don't want to say the entirety of your own worth, but there is, id, ego, whatever. part of your worth is what people are willing to pay for it. Part of your worth is your own internal sense of worth. I get that. I'm talking about the external sense of worth right now. Yeah, watching your time is one thing I've learned from a passing watch some of the RP videos years ago. The reason is that you should simply withdraw your attention from women and give them your back. Yeah. And I don't even like how you framed it, but I agree. It's kind of like giving them, doing it to them. And this is another reason why frame is very important. It's like how you frame it matters. Well, it's giving them attention. It's doing attention from them. You still see like the focus is them. The focus isn't supposed to be women. It's not supposed to be them. It's supposed to be you. And I'm not saying that in the do it for yourself bullshit kind of way. I'm talking about it in the sense that, here, let's crank this volume up just a touch. I'm doing it in the sense that if you can't frame things from your own mental point of origin, then you're ultimately always going to be reactive. So yeah, the chick's wasting my time. I don't got time for this. I'm out of here. As opposed to she's wasting my time. I'm going to withdraw my attention from her and turn my back to her because that'll teach her a lesson. And I get, you're like, oh, it's just a semantic difference. Either way, you're still valuing your time. You're like, yes, but I'm telling you, these things matter. It's not a semantic difference. Just by framing your thing from the perspective of you, you end up making better decisions. Because a lot of times, people that are manipulative, they find evil little ways to make your best interest their best interest. I'll give you a good example. There was a Twitter conversation I saw a couple days ago, which I've had many of these with like my friends talking about their marriages too. Their wife went to college. Their wife has a job. They were in the military. So having a girl that's not a deadbeat is like a holy grail. We're all looking for it. I need a girl who does not just want my pension. And then you get married, and then the girl gets pregnant, and then she has the kid. And then all of a sudden it's that first year. You'll usually get maternity leave in Canada. I don't know what it is in the States. So for that year, they're doing the parenting thing. And then after that, it's like, dude, I should just stay at home. You're like, what? Why? It's like, well, because, I earn $2,000 a month. I'm just throwing out numbers. I don't know what the numbers are. I earn $2,000 a month. Childcare is like $2,000 a month. So why spend 8 hours at work when we're not making any money? I could just stay home. We could save that money instead. But you see what I mean? When you're thinking about your best interest through another person's lens, that's how they start to get you. It's like, oh yeah, that'll be great. You're like, yeah, that kind of makes sense. Like, why are we wasting all this money and all this time? We could save a lot of time. And plus, I'll be home more often, so I'll be more available for sex. I'll be home more often. I'll always have a good meal for you and stuff like that. And you're like, wow, this sounds like a great fucking deal. And then as a guy, thinking of it from her frame, you're like, yeah, I think her doing all this stuff for me is a great thing. And then what happens? And I'm telling you, I've watched it. The girl, for like a couple months, it's cookies and roasts on Sunday. And the kids have showers every 6 hours, like all that shit. And then it just goes away so quickly. And then you realize, oh, well, kids are 5 now. Kids are at school for 8 hours a day. The fuck do you do all day? Mostly shop, go to yoga class, hang out with the friends, drink a Starbies. And then you realize that saving $2,000 a month on childcare has turned into spending $1,200 a month on knickknacks. Not even things. Like if your wife came home one day with a jet ski going, dude, I thought we needed a jet ski. You're like, we can't afford this. At least there's a jet ski there. You'll be amazed. You go through and you look like, what the fuck happened? Why are we $5,000 in the hole on the visa right now? I don't know. And you look through it. You're like, there's nothing expensive on here. It's all pissed away in Starbucks and candy and crumble cookies. You're like, what the fuck? So yeah, from your own perspective, and again, I'm not saying this is the way. I'm telling you this is like a consideration that a guy with frame will have. It's like, well, that's great. Yeah, right now you're paying $2,000 a month, and you're earning $2,000 a month, so we're coming out even on this, right? This isn't a permanent situation. This is a year of daycare. Suck it up, and then a year after that, you've already gotten a promotion since then. Kids are off to school now. Now you have something to do in the 8 hours a day, so you're not spending all your time spending money doing coke or, cheating or whatever. But it's idle hands, man. Idle hands are the devil's tools. She's more fulfilled because she has shit to do during the day. That $2,000 a month she was earning is now $4,000 a month because of that time in share of the work experience, right? Now, obviously, these are like abstract things, but you kind of get the point. You're looking at it from your perspective, not her perspective. You're not letting her try and manipulate you by telling you what's in it for you, making all these promises, because God knows the corollary to Briffault's Law. If you guys remember that, Briffault's Law, the old school no ma'am MGTOW thing, right? The women, not the man's the one who decides the familial arrangement. Corollary law to that. Any promise that she makes, as soon as she gets her side of the deal's null and void, so it's great that you're making deals. Oh shit, is there Camellia? I did not know, by the way, Camellia, you and Clary were buddies until we were hanging in Vegas, and then I think it was you texting him. He's like, hey, guess who said hi? I'm like, what the hell? How is YouTube invading real life? This is crazy. And then he showed me his pistol. I forgot which one he had too. It's neat though. I've only ever, as far as like pistols, I've only ever held a Sig Sauer. I think it was the P220 or 227. I'd have to go check. It's the one the CF does in there. We had 9mm Brownings before that. I never got to fire them. They just got to do some like cleaning drills and shit with them, but yeah. Anyways, the point of it was kind of neat. I liked it. It was heavier than I thought it would be. He's got like a smaller one, but he's got hands like me, right? He doesn't have big lunch pail hands either. So I'm like, having a good like wrap around grip, I think, is more important than a bigger caliber or something like that. Just because as long as you can keep that grip tight, you can keep a steadier aim. Anyways, it was nice. It was neat. My Canadian showed through though. I'm like, dude, I have to let him know that I know what I'm doing. So as soon as he obviously he shows it to me, he's like, yeah, check it out. And he cleared it already, but I'm like, I didn't see him clear it, so I check, make sure it's clear. Rack the action. I rode the action forward, which a bit of a faux pas, I know. I think I even dry fired it, which again I should have asked first, but whatever. Do my best. It was nice to know though, even though I've been out of the military for almost 10 years now. It was nice to know, all right, somebody puts a weapon in front of you, you at least know what the fuck you're doing. It's like riding a bike, it never goes away. Anyways, well, I was distracted. Let me do a quick ad. I'm going to refill my coffee anyway, so I'm going to do a longer one. Oh, actually, you know what I do have? I know what we're going to do. So I've slowed down my release schedule on Orion. The newest one I did was To Live and Die in LA, which pretty goddamn good of a movie if you haven't watched it yet. I think it's this one. Yeah. So I'm going to go quick fill my coffee up and you guys can have fun with this ad.
To Israel and America and all the enemies of Islam! I understand. Look, I'm gonna put my gun away.
Do you like noir? Want to sit down and watch bad criminals fight even worse cops without quippy one-liners or millennial snark? How about this?
Freeze it up, pal!
When was the last time you saw someone take a shotgun blast to the face? A movie that changes the main character halfway through, and you don't care because it's awesome. What about gratuitous nudity for no reason other than it's awesome? Well, I have the story for you. Simple, effective storytelling. Stories perfectly told. Stories where a cop sleeps with his informant because she's on parole. And, the implication.
Can I ask you something? What would you do if I stopped giving you information?
What?
I'd just like to know.
I'd have your parole revoked.
You mean that?
A cop in over his head. He wants revenge and is willing to break every law on the books to get it. It's film noir with the sunny disposition of 1980s Los Angeles. From a director who came from nothing, not a pot to piss in or a window to throw it out of. He clawed his way to the top, making hard, gritty films like The French Connection, Cruising, and The Exorcist.
What the
Now he brings you the most masculine, hard-hitting cop movie you didn't know we used to make and can't make anymore. It's not that we won't, it's that we can't. We don't know how. A federal agent is dead, a killer is loose, and the city of angels is about to explode. It's To Live and Die in L.A., 1985.
So yeah, that was last week, last week's one. Next week's one, I'm going to be doing Aeon Flux, the short. Honestly, I'm like psyched on that one. I'm actually going to do a podcast on that one from the other channel. I think it's worth. I didn't realize it, but a lot of the Peter Chung, the guy who did Aeon Flux, actually worked with Ralph Bakshi on Fire and Ice, which I was like, oh, it's crazy. And he did some work with Disney and that too. I'm like, this guy is like a crazy animator, and I didn't know anything about him. And then I realized it's him. That's pretty cool. But he and I have like very similar takes on storytelling, which is awesome. Jazz music. Cowboy Bebop, you'll see the influence on that one too. Anyways. Let me see if I missed anything in chat here. It was good. Oh, dude. I've always loved my Le Creuset drinkware. If you guys have seen it, the red cups I have, they're Le Creuset. And they're like the soccer mom thing to do right now. Everybody kind of remembers them a bit from the 70s and 80s and early 90s. It was like your mom core shit. And I love them. They're really good stoneware, and the French do it good. But my red morning mug, I really do love this fucking thing. It's the second iteration. There's the Don't Eat Paint, and then there's the Sunset. Don't Eat Paint is there. And also, Ray, the guy who did the cover for Dog Walker, got me the Dog Walker cover on mugs too. I haven't drank out of them yet. They've just been there for me. But goddamn, they look nice. Really do like those as well. But anyways, store.ryanstone.com if you guys want one of these. Just use promotion code PROMOTION, and I think you end up getting them at like a cost plus $1. So you guys can enjoy coffee the way it was meant to be enjoyed. Misogynist. I like my coffee the way I like my women. Shut up. Oh, Camila edited one of Clary's books too. That's awesome. Anyways, yeah, so I'm going to be going on that one. It's changing the vibe of the show too a little bit. So normally you guys notice the format I've kind of got for Orion videos. This one's going to be closer to like a Solar Sands video essay. While it's still a review, it's mostly going to be talking about storytelling in general because I need to do that more. Because ultimately the Orion channel was done as a way to... It's the funnel. Same as this one. Like you guys know, I talk about marketing funnels all the time. If you're doing online work, you're going to use a marketing funnel. I don't care if you're selling slop or if you're selling good literature or a great movie or whatever. You're going to need a marketing funnel because it's just too hard to get people's attention anymore. You see what you're up against. I have to get people's attention when this guy's doing 14 lit RPG books. I have to get people's attention when a chick is talking about scuba diving on a fucking video while a bunch of Zoomers that are dressed like 80s PDF files are sitting there doing stuff. Like, it's hard, so you need that. And the top of the funnel, as always, is like, the shit posting on Twitter and whatever. And the middle of the funnel was, for me, it's the YouTube channels and the Substack essays. But so, for example, Orion is just there to show people what good storytelling is through the medium of classic films. Wait, you haven't watched Bebop before, Duke? Oh my god. Yeah. It's one of those ones, I always thought it was like, do I really like this because it was good, or did I like this because I was young when it came out? It actually is good. And what I love the most about anime, because if you guys have ever been like a kid and you have to explain to somebody, you should watch this show. Just so you know, it doesn't get really good until the 7th episode. So you're like, you got to commit to 7 hours and then you'll start to like it. Because you're a kid, you don't know any better. I think for Cowboy Bebop, until you get to episode... Yeah, the first episode was good. And then you get to like episode 7 where they first brought in like the main plot line of the old assassins and stuff like that. And Vicious. But then you watch all the other ones, they're kind of like goofier jazz things, and you didn't realize what character development was back then. But I've come to appreciate them more. But yeah, it's definitely interesting. So like, Berserk 97. I keep hearing that about Berserk. It's funny, I just never got onto that one. My buddy kept telling me about it. Just, I don't know. Sometimes you just miss things. But, yeah, well, it's more so that, like, if you really want to get into it, Nuke, there is a whole lot of, like, behind-the-scenes interviewers with what's-his-face, the guy who did it. And you'll see, like, those little lines they put at the beginning about, like, the jazz music stuff. Like, that's purposefully done. There's, like, a thematic reason. This stuff it's a very subversive cartoon with tropes in that. And you're probably going to see the best episode to explain it, by the way, if you haven't gotten there yet. There is an episode with a cowboy, a Nepo baby cowboy, and he and Spike are going after a bounty. I don't want to spoil anything, and I'm not going to, but if you watch that, I think it's like it perfectly encapsulates what the show is about. But yeah, I keep coming back to that too. No matter how much time wasting and stuff happens, like I can see everything turning into like my same version of I'm gonna give it a shot. It's just, you know, as time permits. Like at this point, I've got to watch the Aeon Flux stuff for work. I've still got an Akira one on the go. I'm probably gonna do the again where you do like the 4 animes, and I'm like, I gotta stop making this an anime channel and go back to like 70s grit that nobody watches. Fuck whatever. And then of course, The Itch. I've already started the new book. I feel shitty because I promised myself I wouldn't, but I'm sleeping at night because I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna like casually work on it. I'm not gonna give like a full 8-hour work day on it. Yeah, I love the videos you do when you have that 80s look and feel. They're awesome, even the outro. You know what the difference is, by the way? Thank you, Alex. But you know what the difference is? Is I remember the 80s. And a lot of it's not just 80s. There's some 70s stuff there, too. A lot of the stuff I do, where you guys think, oh, this looks so 80s. It's actually kind of 70s. I don't know how to explain it, but there was like... When you see people do the 80s now, like your Stranger Things and that, they didn't really know the 80s. They kind of knew Saved by the Bell. They watched a couple episodes, and they saw an episode of You Can't Do That on Television. They're like, all right, got it. Neon and blah, blah, blah. You're like, no. There is a wealth of visuals in the 80s. Like there was Betamax on TV was huge. I remember it was like early 80s stuff, like Blondie, Queen, all those kind of music videos. Oh, every episode is intentional. Absolutely, Nuke. They're extremely well structured and thought out, and that's because they knew they had like a start and an end to the episodes. It wasn't like a drawn out thing. But I can't remember what exactly it's called. It's a video effect. They do a physical effect with the lensing, and you'll have like a spotlight, but then the spotlight kind of trails down. And it looks like you got 15 different copies of it spread across, and people too. And it had that burnt out neon fluorescent light Betamax vibe in the early. I love that look. It's a very harsh one, but it's been long enough that it gets some style. You'll see it if you ever watch like old Jackson 5 first album of Michael Jackson videos. The only guy I've seen that kind of captures it today is if you watch Donny Benet. He's a Australian bassist. He has like a pretty cool band actually. His shit slaps. But you'll watch, and he kind of does like a mixture of 70s lounge singer, 80s aesthetic, singing kind of like funk songs. I actually went and saw him in concert. Dude, I have never seen anybody with a more rabid audience. I still have like his merch here. He's fucking awesome though. Yeah, 70s film looks like it might be. Well, the 70s was just, they were still very celluloid-ish, right? Like if you watch my video on Spaced Out on the Orion channel, that's a pretty good capturing of the 70s aesthetic for things. But anyways, then 80s that was the early 80s where you had that kind of disco jibe to it. And then the mid 80s is where you had almost like a throwback to like the 50s and 60s, like your film grain, your neon lights stuff and that kind of stuff you remember is like late 80s. It's where you get your Die Hard aesthetic, you get your neon lights, your Greek statues, a lot of stuff like Ski School and that was like early 90s. So you technically think of it as 80s, but it's 90s. So the one advantage you have is like just to actually see, like go to the source material. Don't just be a pastiche of, well, I saw some Vaporwave album did this, so I'm going to do this. Like, no, you can do better. And that goes for everything, by the way. When I wrote Softbone, I wasn't looking at, like, what's the cool, like, everybody now, when they want to do cyberpunk, they look at Cyberpunk 2077 and they make a copy of that. It's like, dude, that's just the Matrix. It's just the Matrix with a color other than green. That's not cyberpunk. Well, to be fair, I haven't lived it either. The only reason I was aware of it is because I was raised around a lot of older people, and older people watched older stuff. Like when I was 7 years old, my ranch hand, she loved Bruce Lee. So she got me into all the Bruce Lee films, and that's like 60s and 70s. So I'm like a little kid, and no little kid knew that. We knew Rumble in the Bronx in the late 90s from Jackie Chan, but that's it. I'm like, no. You gotta watch old Bruce Lee shit. The character Nancy from Jake Long reminds me of the women from Spaced Out. That's funny. So I wasn't intending that, but I can see if you were to take it from that. The Nancy character, she was designed as just pleasant. Well, not that old. I'm not 50s, not early 60s stuff. It was like late 60s, early 70s. But yeah, the Nancy character. I was inspired by, because I think at the time I had just done the video for Ski School. And the chick in there, the love interest, she's cool. She just hangs out. She's cool. Sleeps with the protagonist. They get mad. They get over it. Like, she's not no boss bitch. No Mary Sue shit. She was there to ski, but she wasn't like, I have to teach him. I have to beat him and compete with him. It's like, no, it's just a cool chick and hanging out. And yeah, we'll fool around. It's fine. She didn't take things too seriously. The brunette in that one too. One of the guys was basically stalking her, peeping on her. But she found it adorable. So she's like, yeah, it's cool. I'll just sit in the hot tub and take off my bra because I know you're watching. And I was like, I remember chicks were cool like this. My sister's generation was cool chicks like that. And so when I designed Nancy, it was to be a cool chick like that, which makes sense because Spaced Out was like the 70s version of those cool chicks. Where they were just, yeah, we're just women. It's fine. It's cool. They're pleasant. They're nice. They're kind. They don't put up with shit, but like, generally speaking, like, why would you want to give them shit? I find the only people that tend to have to put up with that shit are girls that like lead with, hey, fucking fuck you. And you're like, all right, well, I'll treat you like a guy then. Yeah, well, when she talks, it sounded like singing. Yeah. And I liked that because if you guys haven't read it yet, there is a theme in there where the masculine and the feminism are masculine and the feminine in the main, like the subverted town, DEI town, is kind of switched around. Guys end up with dainty hands, thin bones, because they're given hormones as a kid. They pick their gender at 5, right? In the New Kowloon, you're just born with what you're born with. For them, freedom means you get to make your own choices. But at the same time, when you're born in the other place, yeah, of course, you're what's more important than choosing your gender? And they're like, no, you don't get to pick that. They understand like choices and consequence as opposed to just, I can do whatever I want to anytime I want to. And then the consequences. So girls always had small boobs, scrambled egg tits, gnarled manly hands, bitchy attitudes, and they're loaded up on SSRIs and like Valium and shit. And then the other one, the girls tend to have bigger boobs, always freckles, feminine hands, and then the talking like we're singing. So the whole thing is just to show like, yeah, the people that weren't brought up in this dystopian hellhole, the men tended to be very masculine, looking lunch pail hands, thick bones, freckles, because everybody had freckles, and the girls very feminine. And then the other place, the girls are masculine and the guys are like wishy-washy. And it was just little things like that. So yeah, the singing was part of that. And I liked it too because like I introduced her way earlier in the story, but I didn't give her a part until way later on. Just because then you get to see him interacting with her at the beginning of his character arc and at the end, and then the differences there. That was something I worked really hard on, and something I'm struggling with on the new one, just to think of how the fuck I did it. Where I like the idea of a character growing and transforming into something new and better, but you didn't notice it until it's over. But then when you go back, you're like, oh, that makes sense. Like, I don't want any of this, like, all of a sudden now he's like this? What the fuck? So yeah, it was definitely a challenge. I got to give Nick credit on that one. During our strategy sessions, he had given me a lot of feedback on the way I'd approached it, which allowed me to hone it much better. Yeah. Because when she talks, sounds like she's singing behind my stream, pausing so much at work. Yeah, don't sweat it. We're all over the map. We started off with like the not time wasting, but I think we've kind of hit that. Like, you guys understand what I'm getting at with that. Is that everybody wants your attention and your time, and you really do have to be cold and ruthless with it, because otherwise they're just going to take it. And it's not because people are mean or evil. I mean, some of the marketers are, but for the most part, people are, if they like you, yeah, they're going to want to spend every waking minute with you. They're going to want everything. But then that's the problem. The more they take from you, the less of you there is for them to love or like. You know what I mean? So you have to be like a magician. Always leave them wanting more. Otherwise, you're just going to lose what makes you you. And that's the you that they like anyway. There will be a sequel. I mean, assuming it doesn't bomb. It's only been a couple weeks so far of its release, but if it doesn't bomb, I already have kind of an outline set up for the sequel. I'm kind of fiddling with 2 books right now. I kind of have passion. There's one is going to be a sci-fi western, and the other one is going to be the sequel to the cyberpunk book. And I have a third one, which I haven't started at all, which is going to be more along the lines of the Dog Walker. The working title is The Road Trip. It's the idea of a couple on a first date taking a road trip down to Mexico and back, which I've done. But that one's on the back burner for now. I don't think I'm going to do that one early on. Yeah, exactly. It's like gambling. Walk away when you're on a winning streak. It's just like, yeah, too much of a good thing isn't a good thing. But yeah, there'll be a sequel. I mean, I could, if I just buckled down, I could probably have it out in 3-4 months. But I just realized if I work to get, because right now I don't know how many people will buy it. Let's just say 1,000 will buy it in the first 3 months. It's a very conservative estimate, but that's fine. 1,000 people, that's great. I do a sequel, it's another 1,000 people. It's 2,000. But if I do good marketing, get 2,000 people to like the first one, and then 2,000 people to like the second one, that's time better spent getting more people to get into it before I do the sequel. So I'm trying that. Oh, and God, yeah, anime. Cowboy Bebop. I'm not doing one of the anime episodes. I've done one of those before. But if you watch anime and you've never watched it before, there's a couple shows and movies that are like always on the top of the list. Absolutely. I mean, I put Cowboy Bebop up there with Akira in must-watches. If you want to understand, or if you want to enjoy anime as the art form and the storytelling vessel, if you watch nothing else, I would put it in order: Akira, then Cowboy Bebop. I'm trying to think of anything else I would put in that. I mean, the Studio Ghibli stuff, sure. But to be fair, I don't go back and watch those again, but I watch Akira all the fucking time. And yeah, so if you don't like those, then you're just not going to like the genre. And everybody's got their little pet projects, but I think if you can get to those. Although, to be fair, my first experience with anime was Robot Carnival, which is like Japanese Fantasia. If you guys ever remember Fantasia, the Disney thing. Yeah, Robot Carnival was Fantasia for anime. And I've got a real soft spot for like the 1980s anime. Like your Wicked Cities, your Akira, all that shit, the Vampire Hunter D, all that stuff was awesome. Ghost in the Shell, obviously at the top of that list. But that's what I mean. Like, there's very few that everybody can agree on. I would argue, yeah, Akira, Ghost in the Shell, Cowboy Bebop. Now, see, Robotech, it's one of those ones. It's not bad, it's good. Macross Plus, I would recommend Macross Plus over Robotech, but we all got our own preferences. But I'm just saying, if you want to get as wide an audience as possible to like something, I don't think that makes the list either. Yeah, you guys are all going to have your list. That's the point. We all have our lists. But if you're not into the genre, nobody's going to care. Nobody's going to care about Evangeline. Oh, by the way, there's an Evangeline thing. The guy was on my research for the Aeon Flux video. It's absolutely insane. Peter actually shit on Evangeline, and I kind of get it. Like, I haven't watched it myself because I hear it's a very big time investment. I don't want to waste it on it or get into it until I have the time. But he was like, my problem with Evangeline is they always explain the stakes. Like, this has to be done. This is why this is important. And he goes, you shouldn't have to tell people why things are important or why they're supposed to feel a certain way. Like, they should be able to get that for themselves. Which I actually agree with. I find that's one of the most annoying things. And it's everything, whether it's a YouTube video or a podcast or a movie or a book or a coloring book or whatever. It's like telling me how I'm supposed to feel. What's my job here? If you're just, and it's my least favorite type of books, which is most of them, is where I'm not reading a book. I'm reading somebody explaining a book to me, and I fucking can't stand that. Drives me nuts. The only good thing to come out of that revelation was realizing it's not that I have ADHD and that's why I can't read. It's just because everybody's explaining the book to me. I'm like, don't explain it. I'll figure it out. Nick says that's because it's like more like reading a script that way, which I'm like a screenplay. And I'm like, that's fine as long as it works. Yeah, don't tell me the guy is sad. Let me figure that out myself. Sad people do certain things. Say he's crying. Well, that'll let me know he's probably sad. Why is that? Oh no, his dog died in the last scene. He's crying now. I can put it together. I'm a genius. Yeah, but see, and Alex, it gets it too. So if you get somebody on Cowboy Bebop and they like that, that's when they start liking other things. Oh, you like this? Well, try Trigun out. Try Samurai Champloo. There's a TV show on that. Maybe if you like the violent part of it, why don't you try Ninja Scroll? Why don't you try Wicked City? Why don't you try Vampire Hunter D? Why don't you try Noir? That's probably my one. If I recommend a anime series to people, they're like, what the fuck? There's two that like nobody else but me seems to agree with. Giant Robo, The Night the Earth Stood Still, 7-episode series is probably I would say it's the best storytelling anime out there next to, I'd put it on par with Metropolis, which is I think 2004, which I don't think anybody else ever talks about either. Metropolis and Giant Robo. And then Noir. This weird like teenage assassin one. I don't know why I got hooked on it. There's no reason to. I think it was during my my hentai phase, back when somebody's like, oh, you got to watch this show. It's called AW Kite. I'm like, what? If you haven't watched it, dude, watch it yourself first. It's a bit raw. I'm telling you right now. Yeah, if somebody explains every detail, that defeats the whole point. Exactly. Defeats the whole point. I've actually got a copy of Marshall McLuhan coming in. Which, if you don't know, he was the Jordan Peterson of Canada in the 60s and 70s. Medium is the message. You guys have heard that all the time. The medium is the message. The environment that a message is given to is often more important than the message itself. Medium is the message. What was the deal with the Lost Anarchy guy? I don't know who the Lost Anarchy guy is. What happened with the strike last week? Oh, I don't know. Oh, the video. It was just because of that part where I had like the Ultimate Warrior and Hulk Hogan thing. WWF was like, yeah, no, you're not using that. So I just cut it out and the episode went through fine. Don't worry about that. Oh, you do have the collection of Noir. Interesting. But I mean, there's FLCL and they all got their own vibes. But again, and it's not like this is a pivot. If you go back to my red pilled coffees, there is an early one. Like when I was still just doing like a time lapse of the view from my living room, sunset, CN Tower, where I talked about telling better stories. So this is not new, and I'm telling it matters for everything. For a lot of these guys that are trying to looks max, and they're trying to get rich, and they're trying to like dress the best, it's like you have no idea how much, if you put a little bit of effort into being a better storyteller, how that can help your game. Because what is pickup? Remember pickup artists? A lot of that stuff was just storytelling. When Mystery was talking about, yeah, you give your rapport building, your opener, break the ice. Those are just stories. You're telling a story. Quick stories, long stories. Your story has to have certain elements in it. 3 displays of higher value. Has to be entertaining. Has to have a hook. When you're talking to somebody and having a conversation, hey, how'd your weekend go? The thing you say after that is the difference between them giving a shit about your weekend or not. Because I know you've had that. You've been at work. You're at the water cooler or at your desk when that guy who has no fucking thing to do comes over to you. He's like, how was your weekend? You're like, that's fine. How was yours? And then he has that long run-on sentence. You know the guys? The ones who don't use a period when they talk, so you can't get a word in edgewise to say, excuse me, I have to go. and the story's long and it's drawn out and it doesn't go anywhere and there's details everywhere and you don't know which details are important and which ones aren't, or you're talking with your wife at home and she's got a story, but in order to understand the story you have to understand the entire character arc of her friend Susan from work. And it's like, oh yeah, back in 2006 she had the boyfriend, and you're like, oh, and you're just, your head's bobbing like a newborn baby. And you're the guy, and those are the guys talking about looks maxing. It's like, dude, girls don't care about that. My favorite way to prove this was, there was a thread by, you guys may not even remember this person. She was an old Twitter account. I had her on the show once or twice. Danny, California. Fun chick. I think she's a Puerto Rican chick from New York. Decent girl. I think she settled down. I think she's got a relationship. She used to be dating that Dino Bravo guy from the Tate's War Room. Absolutely funny. I don't think he left his wife for her though, so, which is stupid. It's like, why wouldn't you? Anyways. Yeah, about wanting your attention actually than actually purveying information. Well, I mean, you're going to purvey information. It's just the eloquence which you can do that kind of shows status. A real subtle thing. But anyways, she was talking about this thing where she's like, ladies, does anybody want to tell, like, and she was like, had all the girls swap their stories about that time they fucked a fat dude. And they all had it. They all had their fat dude story. He made me laugh, or, you know, I was just in the mood, or there was always something. And they never speak of it like they were embarrassed. It's not like a guy when you fuck a fatty and you're like, oh, I can't tell anybody about this. For them, it was just like, oh, it's amazing. He talked his way into my pants. I don't know how he did it. And while that's an extreme example, I enjoyed it because then it showed you, it's like, yeah, it's like looking good, being hot absolutely helps. Being tall, being well dressed, having money, stuff all helps. But it's a force amplifier. Ultimately, those only work in the context of being able to tell a story. If you don't believe me, watch some Indian tech bro in a Lamborghini trying to pick up chicks. There's probably videos on it. It's the most awkward shit where the girl's like, ugh, you're trying too hard. I'm out of here. Don't follow me in that fucking Lambo. Meanwhile, there was an old pickup guy. He was worst boyfriend ever before worst boyfriend ever. He was homeless. And he would pick up girls so he could take a shower and have a place to stay. And I was like, oh my God, out of all the people. And he looked at him. He was like a normal looking guy. He wasn't crazy. He wasn't jacked. He wasn't 6'5" or any of that shit. He wasn't rich. He was homeless. He was dressed like he was in a Sesame Street Walmart. But man, he's like, yeah, if I can pick a girl up. Why? Because if I don't get a shower this week. Like, holy shit. So a guy without a home could do it. How did he do that? He just made a girl feel something. A lot of ways of making people feel things is from videos, from stories. And you don't have to believe me. Go watch your girl. She's watching that movie right now. She's watching The Notebook and crying. You mean to tell me storytelling can't get an emotion out of a girl? You mean to tell me you can't get a reaction? Of course you can. It's not even confidence. There is a lot of idiots. There's a lot of crazy people that are confident as hell. Confidence doesn't matter. I mean, it matters, but not like that. You could be a confident moron, and all you're going to do is be like rejected and be like, oh, that chick was just a lesbian. It's like, fuck, dude. I think your confidence is misplaced. There's a skill set. It's always a skill set. Sometimes it doesn't matter the story you're telling. I always call it like the Dane Cook. You're just talking about normal bullshit, but you're animated and you're happy and you're smiling and your arms are fucking flapping about and everybody's just feeding off the energy of that. But the story is fucking ridiculous. Yeah, it's possible. Or maybe you're one of those guys that, tells an amazing story. It puts you in some, like my one buddy Jason used to sail with. He was the best at this. He would make any story into like a fight for life and death with life or death stakes. He had his own stupid. It was usually his drinking antics got him into trouble, and then for some reason he managed to get out of it because of something from back there. And it was all true stuff. Like, he never exaggerated or embellished. He maybe embellished the reactions. Where somebody was like, oh, he was like, oh my God. Like, that's about as it. You got a little hyperbole. And I remember learning a lot from that guy. It's just sometimes it's just how you tell it. So yeah, it was an old Red Pill video. Tell better stories. And that's what I loved about the pickup stuff. Everybody's like, oh, the nigging is this and this is that, and you guys are evil. And it's like, fuck, slow down. All those canned stories that you think are disingenuous and inauthentic, they're teaching you how to tell stories. Ultimately, they were training wheels. They even say it like right in the thing. If you ever watch, I have the DVDs on my Substack. The whole annihilation method is up there for you to peruse for all paid members. Feel free. That was the series that got me started on all this shit, which was awesome. It's nice to go back and I'm like, fuck, did we really think wearing a t-shirt over top of a dress shirt was a good idea? Like, fuck, whatever. But you watch it, all the girls were dressed kind of nice and they're all acting really pleasant and none of that boss bitch feminist shit. And I was like, man, we really did have it good back then. But yeah, and it was like the stories. You're like, and they even say you're supposed to use these stories for now, and you're supposed to learn how to tell your own stories. In other words, you have to do cool shit, or at least tell the shit you're doing in a cool way. And so you have these as practice. So you learn the cadence, you learn the plot points you want to hit, you want to learn like where you want to put emphasis, where you want to downplay stuff, where you give it pause, where the person gets to ask questions, and to pay attention. If you're telling a story and people have questions all through it, that's good. That means they're engaged, they want to know more, and then you can tell them more. If you find during the story they're just looking around for somebody to save them, then it's not good. And it's not easy, and you don't want to tell them more. So yeah, well, it's a weird way to phrase it, but yeah, I guess monkey branching from you to their dad. This is why I always joke that every time a guy gets red-pilled, he starts earning more money at work, and a lot of it is that. Just your charisma and your charm, you're telling better stories, you have better aesthetics, and then it's like a little bit of assertiveness. Hey, I'm here for a raise. Hey, I'm switching jobs, taking a little bit of risks. I need a new raise. Well, what was your last job like? And you could tell, that's interviews, same thing. Tell us about your last job. I mean, obviously with the AI market and the tech stuff right now, this may be a dated reference. So I haven't had to be in an interview position in a couple years now. Probably like, well, I guess since I started this, because this was right after my last layoff, which, fine. So I guess that would have been pre-COVID. It's like, I don't know, 2020? Yeah. So post-COVID, whatever's changed, I don't know. But yeah, tell me about your last employer. Tell me about your last job. Hell, even just like my first career pivot after the military. Just having to convert military stuff into civilian language. That was storytelling. Because anything people wanted, I had it. I had a military equivalent. It had a different name. The stakes were higher. The technology was different, but it's all the same skill set. So for me, it was just realizing, it's like, yeah, well, I shouldn't call, it's not technically called that. It's called your CSI, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, you know what? They don't give a shit about the acronyms. If it's the equivalent of this, just call it this. So I call it a CISN, you know. I can't remember the names anymore. That's pretty bad. Yeah, well, that's the thing. They're struggling with those questions. It's the same as like, hey, just go talk to that girl. And everybody says, oh, just lead with your strengths. It's like, no, you're telling a story. Tell us something that you learned at work that you didn't do. And mine back then, I'm not even saying they had to be great. Like for me, when they ask you about your weaknesses, the one I always led with was just, I used to argue because I wanted things done perfectly. And like I was trained to be hyper secure, so everything was secure. And that was before I understood that, like, yeah, well, it's your job to advise on the proper security stuff for, you know, information or whatever. Ultimately, it's whoever the business owner is or your commanding officer who has to take ultimate responsibility for it. So if he decides to disregard that, as long as he's properly informed, it's not my place. And so that was my story of, yes, want to do my thing, want to do it well, want to do it perfectly. I was top of my class. You slip in the DHVs, same as pickup stuff, right? And I remember, and I used to get really heated for it, and it pushed a lot of people off the wrong way, raised my voice, definitely learned I shouldn't have done that. Had some cost to it, which is fine. It was young. You all learn. See, it was young. Oh, young people are always like that, but I'm older and mature now. And then what do I learn? Yes, I mean, at the end of the day. And so what am I articulating with this story? Yeah, it's a great story about a guy who was like full of piss and vinegar and then kind of learned to gain some eloquence in that. But what they're seeing is, okay, he actually gives a shit about his job. He's really competent at it. He knows what he's doing. At the same time, he's learned over time. This is the lesson he had to learn. This was his weakness, is that if it's not his call, there's a certain point where he has to detach. And so that lets the boss know, okay, so I'm hiring this guy to be hyper competent, but if I tell him it's going to be this, he will understand and he will go along with it. Ended up getting that job too, which was pretty good. And like I said, every story doesn't have to be a hero's journey. As long as you have some kind of starting point, some kind of obstacles to reach the finishing point, overcoming the obstacles and reaching the finishing point. That's the bare bones basic in storytelling. A couple weeks ago too, when I was talking about my the buddy Jay, we're out at the bar, we're drunk having fun, some girl jumps on him, he falls on her. What the hell was that? He had to tell some story, and he's like, who the hell are you? And why'd you jump on me? She goes, don't you remember I signed your ass? And he's like, wait a minute, what the hell? And like, just to tell that story, if I want to tell, like, I'm not telling it here, I'm obviously just kind of summarizing, but it was just like, we're at a bar, somebody jumps on him, knocks him over, falls down, lands on this very pretty girl. Why did a pretty girl jump on him? Why is she screaming at him? Why is she a perfect stranger? What's with the ass signing? And then he has to tell a whole other story to explain the story. He was at a party, got really drunk, thought it'd be fun for everybody to marker on him, but he blacked out, I guess. And the next day he's taking a shower and he notices a bunch of names on his thing. He's like, what the fuck? Didn't think about it. 6 months later, this girl jumps on him. The whole story ties together. And now we got this great story to tell in the day. And you know what that's great about that story? Is when you're talking to girls at the bar or outside the bar, it's like, oh, it just kind of comes up in casual conversation because it's a good story. Now, what does that show? Girls are literally throwing themselves at you. They're throwing themselves at you. You don't want to have fun. You don't have a lot of inhibitions about nudity and stuff like that. Like, how entertaining is that? There's no slut shaming into him whatsoever. A girl who's DTF loves that shit. And then he tells it in a way that's entertaining. Girl gets to think, I get to be that girl. I get to be the one that signs his ass. Gets to have a great story. And if somebody asks me, I can tell you some amazing story about how one of the guys I used to date almost took me out in the middle of a nightclub by falling on me because I signed his butt one day. It's just fun stuff like that. Yeah, introduce, struggle, recover. See, you will, Ashina, or whatever the fuck your name is. I don't know where you're from. I know it's probably a country that ends in Stan, but I think you're missing the point here. You're talking about it as if it's a manipulation technique, which you're not wrong, but again, it's always with the framing. It's super gross, but psychological behavior modification techniques, that's how playing or finessing you works. Yes, that is true. You could absolutely do that. Here's the thing. Unless you're really good at that, it doesn't work. It's off-putting because it's overt manipulation. And here's the thing. It doesn't actually work with well-adjusted people. It works with the insecure, it works with the greedy, and it works with the scared. Every time. Competence matters if you're a Punjabi truck driver trying to make a U-turn in the middle of the interstate. Oh my God. The fact that America and Canada are both having this interstate fake Indian trucker scam. Did you know there's like a mafia? There's an Indian trucker mafia. Fucking boggles the mind. They infiltrate. We found them in Ontario. They infiltrated our Services Canada, the place that gives you driver's licenses and that, with their people, diversity hires, and then they're selling licenses to their buddies, and then their buddies are driving these trucks under the thing because and then they're like killing people every couple months. They're killing somebody or diddling somebody, and it's all tied to this giant fraud network. And that's one of the reasons why goods are becoming more expensive, because insurance premiums are going up because they keep crashing. Goods aren't being delivered. Things are being stolen. And now you're like, why do tomatoes cost $7? What the fuck? What's that book in front of me? This is Softbone. This is the newest dystopian cyberpunk heist / man learns what it means to be free. It's a character study. It's an adventure. It's the hero's journey. It's everything and it's nothing, and it's awesome. Yeah, well, that's the thing. All this stuff doesn't work if you're trying to get something from somebody else. That's the difference when they talk about manipulation being good or bad. There's overt and there's covert manipulation. It's a bit of an autistic way of describing it, but covert manipulation is like your used car salesman. I want to sell you this car, and they just tell you what you want, what they think you want to hear. They try and push you into it, and if you have any amount of social savviness, you understand they are trying to get me to do this thing. They're really good at dismissing all of my concerns. They're really good at breaking through my barriers and stuff like that, and you can't articulate it, but you can just tell you're being manipulated. And the thing about being manipulated, and if you don't believe me, just go say no to your wife and watch how she reacts, is it doesn't just not work. It encourages the person to do the opposite. You can't tell me what to do. You ever notice that? When you try bossing around your girl, first thing she does, just instincts. Fuck you, I'll do what I want. And she does the exact opposite. You probably pull some reverse psychology shit. That's why this stuff doesn't work. And when I'm talking about the storytelling and the covert manipulation, it's not like you don't want anything from them. You're aware, like if you're talking to a girl, you're aware that ultimately you do want to have sex with them, probably. Or if it's a wife, are aware you do want her to stop being a bitch, or whatever it is you want. You do want something. But you also have, I don't know how to describe it, but abundance. That if you don't get it, it's not a big deal. It's like luxury branding or Apple. There's never been a buy an Apple phone. Like nobody has ever had a call to action in an Apple ad for anything. It's not buy the newest computer. It's not buy the newest iPod. It's not buy the newest iPhone. They just show you it's cool and people are cool and they're having fun and it's great. But they never tell you to buy it because they don't need your business. I mean, they do, but that's how luxury branding works. It's that simultaneous, I don't need your business. I'm doing just fine. And I kind of do need your business though. Same thing here. You're talking to a girl. You're not trying to overtly manipulate into getting into her pants. I don't need to get laid tonight. That's fine. You want to, but you don't need to. And if she doesn't want to, that's fine. I got somebody else. Same as Apple. Dude, I made $1 trillion last year. If you don't want to buy the iPhone, that's on you, man. I'm perfectly fine with that. And that has the psychological effect of making the other person want you more. It's the same reason that rich people get more gifts than anybody. They could afford anything, and that's why they pay for less. It makes no sense until you understand that's just how people work. Everybody likes to latch on to a winner, and winners get what they want. And the more they have, the more they can get. It's just the way the world works. I can get a loan when I need the money, but this guy who doesn't even need the money gets the loan. Yeah, you know why? Because the guy that doesn't need the money will pay back the loan. Statistically speaking, your broke ass will not. It's like that for everything. Part of that purpose of storytelling is putting you in that box. I don't need you. I don't need this. And I'm having fun. I'm not desperate. I'm not clingy for the story. I don't need you to read Softbone. It's a good book. I've read it and I can't read any of my shit. I've had other people read it. I'm getting the feedback back from the first people that have read it and they're like, dude, like things that I wouldn't have thought of as important. And they're like, really good execution on this, like the pacing. I paid effort on the pacing, but I didn't think it was going to be like head and shoulders above the stuff that they had been reading before. Or even the little thing here, like the Nancy character. Nancy was probably, out of all the characters in the book, she was the one I put the least effort into building a solid character arc. But the fact that she still sticks in somebody's mind that much, I mean, I find it humbling. But at the same time, it's like, if I'm sitting here trying to shill a book to you, I at the very least want to promise you, like, I'm not wasting your fucking time. When you read it, you will enjoy it. You will be able to get through it. You're not going to do that shit where you kind of glaze over and you forget, like, what did I just read? And you go back to the next page before that. Never want to do that. But that's not because I want you to buy it. That's because I don't want to write that book. I'm not that piece of shit. And that's the same thing as the iPhone. Nobody tries to sell you an iPhone. iPhone just tries to show you how awesome iPhone is. You got to make that decision for yourself. And that's the covert manipulation. That just means I understand you. I know what you want. I know what you're looking for. My catchphrase with this when selling it is like, this is written for books. This is written as a book for people who can't read books nowadays. Because I can't read nowadays. I tried. Everybody's book is a giant descriptive mess. It's like a test. There's going to be a test later. It's like reading the LSAT. Here's 18 legal precedents. There's going to be a quiz at the end of this, multiple choice. Define the 7, and you're like, oh, I don't need to know about this. I'm sorry that your lit RPG is this, or I'm sorry your romantic comedy has a bunch of details. Even, like, I can see why Colleen Hoover stuff does so well, because as much as she is like a rambling, averagely written kind of mess of a rom-com, the one thing she's good at is she minimizes the amount of superfluous details you don't need to know. And I honestly think if people would really tighten up what they do, and that's everything, storytelling, your podcast, dude, fucking Myron yelling at girls with White Claws, I guarantee you he could cut those fuck you, hold your bitch accountable speeches down to like a third of what they are now, be very tight, probably be a lot better at delivery. And then the fact that your video won't be 7 hours long probably shows the guy, it's like, dude, that's a much more efficient use of time. How awesome would that be? Yeah, thanks for the simple jokes. Girls would love how assertive you are. Some female teacher abused me and dude, what the fuck are you doing? Here, man. I appreciate you telling me your trauma. I don't think I'm going to be a very good at like a therapist for this one. Sometimes it's best not to bring stuff up. Having said that, I hope you get through your pain. I'm rooting for you. Gaming teaches perpetual improvement. I wouldn't even say improvement. Oh wait, that's been me lately. Type a paragraph of vitriol, delete most of it down to concise point I make at the end. Yeah, actually, there's been a few ways I've done that myself. Like, I've talked about it before. The two ways I've found that my writing works, well, works for me, is A, I sometimes write it as if it's like exposition. What is it I want to happen? What's happening here? Like I'm explaining the story to somebody else. And then I go back and look at it. And for every paragraph of exposition, I'm like, is there a way I can show this as opposed to telling you? Dialogue, action, symbols. And then I kind of just rewrite paragraph by paragraph. And then I kind of find some things that'll be, even though it's just a paragraph of exposition, that would take me like 3 pages to explain. So sometimes it's like, oh, there's a whole scene in here that I'm kind of glossing over. Maybe I should expand on it. Or this doesn't really work. It kind of meanders and gets away from the story and I just delete it. But that's the other one too, where I would write out the exposition again. And then paragraph by paragraph, I look like, what am I trying to say on this one? And then I cut it down to a sentence. So where I'll have like 100 paragraphs, it'll be 100 lines of text. And then those lines again, I'll just rewrite the story from those, which helps too. Which by the, oh yeah, sorry for John again. I still laugh at that. He still, like, he understands marketing. You got to give him credit. He understands marketing, because that whole Orc City thing, I've talked about it before. He had a meme go viral, and instead of spurging out or having a temper tantrum like everybody else does, he just rolled with the joke, which is all you can do. And it's not just me saying that. It's not just him saying that. Count Dankula was saying the same thing. Sam Hyde he's been accused of being the serial killer for every shooting in the last 10 years. He knows how to roll with the joke. I see you, James. I'll get to it in a second. But yeah, and then somebody was putting out can you believe his stupid Orc City joke? Yeah, he rolled with it, but is it really helping with sales? And it's like, he didn't get it. It's like, dude, you guys are talking about him right now. He didn't ask you to talk about him. You chose to talk about him. And that's, again, good storytelling. Just the story. Like, here's the story in a nutshell of John A. Douglas, mayor of Orc City. He, like all of us, shitposts on Twitter, gave this story about the Metal Gear Solid guy. Hojima, whatever. I'm not good with Japanese names. He wrote, everybody talks about how he's got the best stories in the history of whatever. Here's a character he wrote called Fat Man Who Drinks Wine on Roller Skates. He's ridiculous. I can't remember the exact wording, but it was basically shitting on fandoms of Metal Gear Solid as being like great writers. Like, they're not great writers. It's just some fucking weird shit. And it just caught the right mix of crazy and autistic and nothing else to do. Went viral. Everybody shit on him. And the first thing happened was somebody took a quote. I think it was the first paragraph of his prologue of the book. Now, I'm not going to comment on the prose, if it could be better written, if it was tighter, if it was good or not. That doesn't even matter. Because the guy did that thing, I tell you, that's like really bad storytelling does. He tells you how to feel about something. So he took the first paragraph of is it forward or prologue? I think prologue. Look at that. Quote tweeted it saying, "This you, bro?" With the inference being, look at your writing, you have no right to judge. And then everybody loves that. It's like, yeah, fuck this guy. Fuck this guy. And then everybody had to have a comment on it. Remember what I was talking about at the very beginning of the episode with that redhead chick and the scuba diving? Now everybody has to decide, is she mid? Is she not? I'm pro this girl. I think she's beautiful. I think she's ugly. I think she's fucking weird. She probably gets a lot of dick. Everybody has strong opinions. And that's for like 2 days, 3 days, was everybody just yelling about their opinions on fucking Metal Gear Solid and then Orc City. And because Orc City was such like a catchy phrase, because it kind of has that noir. Yeah, he lived in Chicago, Orc City. He had legs that went all the way up, shit like that. So it kind of had a mimetic quality to it. Now, normally what people do there, they take their account private. Like, I'm just going to come back in 5 days and be done with it. And he's like, no. So he just started going to AIs, like, do some Orc City memes for me. And he put them out there and everybody's kind of like, and it's like he won the crowd over, which was pretty funny. Because even the people that hated him or hated his writing or loved Kojima, they're like, you know what? This is at least entertaining. Fucking I'll go with it. And his sales obviously did well, I'm assuming. Usually when you get that many eyeballs on you, there's going to be a certain percentage of people like, I got to see for myself. What's this book about? Maybe they like it, maybe they don't, but they did buy it. But that's not the beauty of this. It's not the point. And I think that's what the one guy was saying. He was like, can you believe this guy? Did he actually do well from it? It's the fact that right now, John Douglas is a name in the book writing Twitter sphere. Period. Other guys have done it too. Devin Erickson, Death to Fire, absolutely did it. One of his best was somebody nominated his book for not a Hugo, but it was another sci-fi writing competition. It wasn't him, because they just liked his book. I mean, obviously having a good book is what's going to make this sustainable, but the marketing is what makes a good book visible. It won't make a bad book great, but it'll make a good book visible. Does that make sense? So they made out this statement, because I guess some people complained. It's very Tucker Max billboard advertising. And they're like, yeah, sorry, this guy is a libertarian, which means he's a Nazi. He's polygamous. He's got 2 wives. We just don't like that sort of filth on our science fiction thing. To which his response was, dude, I didn't even know I was part of this contest. What the fuck are you talking about? And then that got viral because everybody remembers the old Skinny Puppies, Hugo Awards issues with Vox Day, Morlock. And if you guys don't know, there was an old, in like the 2016 era, there was a science fiction award called the Hugos, I think it was. And a bunch of wokesy social justice warrior types at the time were trying to get all of their gay fan fiction, porn, woke stuff in there. And they were gaming the system to screw a bunch of people out, caused a huge hullabaloo. There is a lot of old head readers that remember this stuff. It's like the Gamergate for books. Anyway, so when this thing came out, everybody got that, oh, dude, we're doing this again. And so everybody kind of chimed in on it, very strong opinions. Everybody brought their baggage from the old Skinny Puppy or Sad Puppies event and all this shit. Yeah. Yeah, his feed is fun. And here's the thing, like, and then I've known him, we talked a bit. Kind of know him from before, which is nice. Oh, and you did cover a few books. Exactly. So yeah, you're smart. That's what smart people do. They kind of watch how things transpire and you're like, okay, can I repeat that? It's a scientific method, same as the red pill stuff. Yeah, so anyways, and Theft of Fire, I've read it. I read it before any of this stuff happened. I read it because I've known him from before. And it was a good book. It did one of the few things that books don't do. I read the first chapter and I wanted to keep reading. And I didn't gloss over. Like, he was very good at that. I was like, I don't care about your themes or your things or whatever. At the end, if I can read it and not get bored to the point where I start skipping. If I never skip a paragraph in your book, it's a good written book. Yeah. Well, see, I don't know. Like, and I don't want to... It's not shade when you're like, it's an insanely great book. I don't want to say it's an insanely great book in the same way that... But it's not saying it's not good. It is good. It is good. It is professional. But that is what every book used to be. Like when I read Defiance by Oliver Lang, it's the same level of quality as that. It is a professionally done book. It is entertaining, and I read it, and it was great. And it just sucks that we're at a place now where if somebody does a professionally adequate job, that it is now seen as insane. You know what I mean? And that's why, and it's everything. Same thing. The pickup guys. I watch guys hitting on girls, and I'm like, dude, your riz is ridiculous. How do you get away with that? And they don't. They mostly just crash and burn. Stories, books, same thing. Delicious Tacos, another great example. Now, I still have to read Savage Spear of the Unicorn. It's on my list, but... And now for some good news. Same thing. I read front to back. I didn't skip anything. I was even on vacation. I'm sitting by the pool reading a book about an incel apocalypse with my family and my friend's family, and his new fucking girlfriend turned into wife, and now they got a family together. I'm just sitting there reading. It's like, oh, this is great. The 15-year-old rape gangs. Interesting. The last book that hooked me from start to finish was The Anubis Gates by Tim Powers. I don't know that one. Yeah, see, you get it. It's a heist. It's a heist book, or I call it a heist movie, but it's only because that's how I think. But yeah, it's a heist. Ultimately, it's a heist. It's got the bratty princess. She essentially, it does coerce him into going on this heist, and then they go on it. But then it transforms until you get to your moral message. And I want to spoil the moral message on it. It's really worth watching, but it's kind of like legacy, I guess, if I had to put it into a term. And it's neat because he does that. He has the characters have their arcs. They're driven. They grow and they learn. The 3 characters on there, one is an AI, one is a rich Nepo baby chick, and the other one is a guy with daddy issues, a space miner. Yeah, it's because everybody wants to be a trademark writer. They're going to be good at writing. And it's more than just that. It's the same thing. If you guys really want to know like what I'm talking about being everywhere and not just in this little red pill space or not just in my newest thing with the writing and thing, there is podcast cringe. I don't know if you ever watched the show. It's kind of like, you could tell it's a hater, but whatever. And every video he does is about the Joe Rogan sycophants comedy careers and how cringe and bad they are. Like your the 2 Bears, 1 Cup guys. I cannot remember their names. The one that never wears a shirt, and the other one's basically dad worked for Goldman Sachs. So like, fuck those guys. They're not very funny either. But the UFC guy who's like really bad at comedian stuff, and he has his podcast, and you watch all of them and you realize it's the same thing, man. All these guys wanted to be really great comedians, they said, but then podcasts started making money, and now none of them want to do good comedy anymore. And then their podcasts aren't good anymore either. So now they're like, oh shit, we got to get onto the next grift. So what are they doing? They're talking with politicians. And then you watch like hardcore purist comedians talking about it, and they're joking like, dude, how do you have Biden or Trump on your fucking podcast and not take the piss with them? What kind of comedian are you? It's the same thing here. They don't know how to tell good stories. They don't know how to, because a comedy special is a really well delivered, scripted story that just makes you laugh. That's it. That's why if you watch some of the best comedians, you watch Richard Pryor live on the Sunset Strip, he's telling stories that have jokes. He's not telling jokes. You watch some of the old Bill Burr stuff. He's telling a story, and the story has jokes. Dave Chappelle, he has like 7 Netflix specials right now, and they're all him just telling stories. And unfortunately, he's gotten to the point now where I think he's like Adam Sandler phoning it in, where he's not telling jokes anymore with his stories. They're almost preachy, which is too bad, because for a while he had like a really good butter zone right at the start of that. Bill Burr still good. I mean, I haven't watched his latest one because I kind of gave up on him, but once he went Hollywood, it was kind of like I saw the change. And this is not coming from a hater. When I lived in Montreal, every year he would come to the Met, and I would get tickets. Me and my girl, we'd go watch him at the Met, and then 6 months later he'd have a special come out on Netflix. Like that whole punching the muffins sketch, I watched that shit live when he first stopped drinking. It was like a 4 or 5 year period where I was watching his specials religiously and going to see him live religiously. And then he did that Red Rock one where all of a sudden you could tell like his wife was like interfering and stuff, and it was like, yeah, this lesbian bumped into me and I was so pissed off, and then I realized she dates women, of course she's an asshole. And I'm like, what the fuck is he talking about? Like, it was still the same style of humor, but the stuff became so unrelatable that it just kind of, it gave me that vibe that I'm trying to be manipulated by somebody. And it made sense too, because once he switched to these kind of jokes, he started getting more Hollywood roles. So I get it. And I'm like, maybe that's just a one-off thing. Maybe I'm just being hypersensitive to the woke mob or whatever. And so, no, instead I gave it another shot. I tried watching Sarah Silverman's special. Dude, holy fuck. The one thing that got me, man, we just turned it off. We were like a half hour into it, and she was telling jokes, and all right, they're good enough, whatever. And then she stops the show at about a half hour in to give a big 25-minute sketch about her dad, how she loved her dad and he had just died. And I'm like, holy fuck, there was no joke. She was having a wake in the middle of her fucking Netflix special. I was like, oh, Jesus. I realize a lot of these guys are doing that now, where they're just like giving this big woke speech. It's not even funny. It's not entertaining. They're just trying to sap my time from me. She does have nice knockers. I will give her that. But like, I remember old school Sarah Silverman used to be kind of funny. Heck, I even remember not hating Mark Maron. But it's the same thing. It's like a lot of these guys, they could tell great stories, and they used to tell great stories. I'm not going to argue about the mechanisms that got them to where they are. Obviously, they're in a certain environment that makes certain things acceptable and not acceptable, which affects their comedy, but I'm not talking about that. There's no way you can't, if you're that professional of a comedian, there's no way you can't tell a good woke joke. I don't give a fuck. You can't tell me that like just because it's woke, it gets ruined. It's like, no, man, Deep Space Nine was the most progressive TV show in the late 90s. They had a transgender science officer. Remember Dax? She was a troon. Why do you think Cisco kept calling her old man? Because one day she decided, the parasite decided, I'm going to be a girl today. They killed her. I'm going to be a different girl today. I used to be a guy. Who cares? What's she doing? She's dating the Klingon, too. Every guy on that show who wasn't married was basically a beta male. Like, how many episodes did you watch where it was Julian Bashir simping with, like, Quark to get the girl just to notice him? Meanwhile, she just, I'm going to go date the Klingon. Thanks, you guys are such good friends. I'm like, dude, you watch it today, you're like, holy fuck, that's cringe. But it was well done stories, and you watched it. The Long Kiss Goodnight. I don't like my Mary Sue's, girls that have no weaknesses. Dude, it was a soccer mom with amnesia, found out she was a deadly assassin, started killing everybody. Like, come on. Don't tell me that we don't watch it because it's woke. It's like, no, you can write good stories. You can tell good stories. You can have good stories. Doesn't even matter the topic. Do you know how many progressive dudes get laid? A lot. Oh, so many of them do. Don't tell me you can't figure this out. Oops. Sarah Silverman was kind of funny right up into that episode of the show where she simulated eating her dog's asshole. I couldn't get past that. Yeah, let's not pretend O'Brien's wife wasn't a total battle axe used to his nutsack as a punching bag. Also true. Like, I even remember I almost did a video on it, but I wasn't doing TV at the time on my Orion channel of that episode, The Heist. Did you ever watch that one? It's like Ocean's 11, but it was the Deep Space Nine crew on a holodeck. And Cisco was like, I'm never going to go on that thing ever again. And the wife finally like cajoled him onto it. She's like, why do you hate this so much? He goes, dude, it was the 1940s in Las Vegas. Black dudes were not walking it. Unless your name was Sammy Davis Jr., you weren't going on there. And I hate LARPing. Like, we weren't allowed in there unless we were fucking janitors. I'm not going to pretend. She goes, it's just, let it go, man. It's fine. Which was hilarious because he was right. If you watch it now, a lot of this, like, retooling of history thing for modern diverse audiences is such crappily written crap, and he was like, I'm just not going to engage in it. But at the end he did, because you need him to engage in it, so he did it. No reason, they just decided to have him do it. But it was such like a, you know, those whole Star Trek was right, they invented the cell phone thing in their tech. I think Deep Space Nine is gonna, in retrospect, is gonna have those. Dude, this foresaw the future. I still think Quark, that's still my favorite episode. I think I had a video on that one too. The episode where Quark and Odo get caught in the mountain and they have to climb up to the top. That was one of my favorites. It's Tom and Jerry in space. Anyways. So that's what I'm saying. So, like, if you haven't read it, read it. And if you don't like science fiction, which is fine, I got you too, fam. Contemporary fiction. Guy in his dating life. Learning to be a better man. Stop being a promise keeper. Red pill themes. You never see red pill themes in anything because it's evil and misogynist. But I'm like, just write it well, man. Nobody will give a shit. And it's the little things. You'll never notice them. Dude, there are details I've put into my books. There's details that John's put into his books. There's details that Nuke will put into his anime or his manga when he eventually writes it. He's been promising it now for a while. Devin put in his that you probably won't even notice. And it's not because they're not important. They are important. But it's because they're done so well that your brain can just have it in the background and everything makes sense. And that's ultimately what's happening here from like a neurochemical perspective. When things are going as expected, when the patterns match what your brain expects, it just throws it in the background. Doesn't even think about it. It's when something goes wrong that you kind of snap back into place. It's like that old joke. Nobody ever thinks about you shoveling your driveway. Nobody ever notices you do it until the day you don't do it. Then everybody notices. That's because you're just so used to seeing it. It's just background. So if you like really do these details well, nobody will pay attention and notice any of them. But everybody will notice if you fuck it up. So ultimately, that's what I'd like. The idea that, and then like, these ones are. And to be fair, I haven't read John's yet. It's on my to-do list, but I've got like I'm finally getting through my list of books that I've promised. I've got to finish off the one I'm on now. And then next up is Clary. Then after Clary, I think I've got Kirsten's one, which I'm not expecting to like because I don't think I'm the audience for it. It's like a literotica black magic Aztec thing. And I think John's after that. Oh no, On Women and then John. Jack's On Women. Although I could probably put Jack's On Women earlier on because I have a feeling it's going to be very familiar to me. So, uh-oh. Dark Knight Dev, $5 super chat. You son of a bitch. Oh, wait, we had 2 of them. That's right, James. My bad. Can't believe I waited so long for this one. All right, James, you win. Where is it? There she is.
Ryan Stone, another
It is just.
Oh my God.
If you're a young man, you need to figure out what you're trying to do with your life, you need to subscribe to this goddamn channel.
What the fuck?
Megan Fox with a dick, or Hulk Hogan with a pussy.
Mel time. It's Mel time.
Why are you doing this to me? Why are you doing this to me?
You see that Waffle House there? There's murderers in there.
You have to conclude that Trump betrayed us.
socially retarded fact.
Seething.
Don't work with retard.
He's a halfway decent looking guy, a nice smile, can be a gentleman, snarky as even in person, yet he blocks me and talks shit about. Somebody find out their fucking real names for me.
I'm sorry I made you wait for that one. I fucking got on a tear. And then Dark Knight Dev, you son of a bitch. Dude, we made it 1 hour and 55 minutes before the $5 super chat. You son of a bitch. You fuck. All right. One of these days, we're not going to need the Murphy ad, but today's not the day.
So the memes, they're very good. This is really, they've taken it.
True Alpha.
Named Ryan Stone.
It says, ask Murphy about the article he wrote, cuckolding his wife. Clear up the cuck article. Clear up the cuck article.
Why are you doing this to me? Why are you doing this to me? Why are you doing this to me?
If I wasn't prepared to literally impoverish his entire bloodline,
I am now concerned for my career.
And I still recommend clear up the cuck article.
You know what? Fuck you for bringing this up. Yeah. Fuck you. Heartfelt.
I'm not gonna have those guys back on my channel again. Absolutely not.
Just use a little bit of fucking common sense.
It is just.
That's great. That's you should.
Fuck you.
Sorry, apologies.
Just keep going, dude. One foot in front of the other. Before you know it, this will all be in the rearview mirror. Fuck you.
By the way, if you didn't notice, go back and watch that ad again, because there's a whole story in there. You didn't notice it at the time because it goes so fast, but after you watched it a few times, you start to pick it out. Oh my god. There's that exactly what I was talking about before. There's a situation, there's a struggle, there's this overcoming, and there's an ending. And it's like the weird twist turn in that he was overcoming it. Like he thought, I handled that well. Just got to put one foot in front of the other, man. And it was definitely a tragic arc because his brand died after that. Anyways, Dark Knight, thank you, sir, for your $5 super chat. Fuck. Part of me wants to cut my hair short now after watching the old Manosphere morning ads. Anyway, saw the new Naked Gun with Liam Neeson and Pam Anderson. The writers went back to what made Naked Gun, which was crass humor and constant spoofs. I was so worried about that, man. Like, I know they got Seth Rogen or whatever, or Seth Green, whichever guy, doing it. I just don't trust new movies anymore. Like, do you recommend it is the big one. I want it to be like Airplane and Naked Gun, where they were like a satire of the thing, but it's good that you don't have to know the source material. But I get a feeling, I don't know. Normally in trailers, they put their best jokes in front. And so far, the only joke that even got a harmf out of me was when they're like praying to the old photos of their dads, like, you know, Kennedy and Neeson. Don't worry, man. I'm coming, Dad. I'm coming, Dad. And then OJ's kid was like, no. I chuckled, but I didn't laugh. And the whole fighting thing, I don't know. I'm hoping. I'm rooting. But yeah, I don't know. I don't think I can do it. Maybe one day when it pops up on Netflix, I'll have a chance. I've just been burned too many times. I'm tired. I'm old. I don't watch new movies anymore. And I wish I could say it's because satire is great and dead, but it is. And I wish I could say it's because Liam Neeson has great comedic chops, but he doesn't. And I wish I could say it's because Pam Anderson is just as good as Elvis's wife when she was starring in the movie The Naked Gun, but I don't think she did. One day they just made beautiful movies. I'm getting pretty good at that little rant anyways. They're doing, I think, were they taking this week off for Rule Zero? I gotta go check. Nope, Nuke's got it. Have a look. What the hey? So I'm going to send you guys over to Nuke when we're done. We got another 30 seconds here to finish this up. Crap ton of material for the Naked Gun airplane style stuff and not any Wayans brother dribbles. Yeah, that's fucking weird, man. Like, the Wayans brothers are not shitty comics. Like, In Living Color was the big deal. Damon, Major Payne, like, they did good movies. I don't know what the fuck they were thinking with their whole scary movie franchise shit. They just did horrible. Never saw a man call another man snarky. Did you see one call another man a faggot? Because I had that like 5 times in that old clip. That fucking guy. Ah, dude, Crescent Slice. Hey, Ryan, it's been a long time. I'm reading The Dog Walker for the 2nd time. Softbone should be in the mail soon. Dude, you're going to love it. The one thing you will notice about Softbone, so, like, it's shorter. Dog Walker was 83,000 words, which is still technically short. Or 83,000 words, which is technically short for a novel. A lot of people like their 500-page, like, tomes. That one's, like, maybe 260. This one clocks in at almost an even 60,000. So it'll be a snappier and more tighter and condensed read. It's more ambitious, but it's the same style of writing. So if you liked The Dog Walker, which I'm assuming you do, you read it the 2nd time. To be fair, I've had to read it 4 times. I read it once for the editing, twice for the final editing, 3rd time because I was stuck in a place and I had nothing to do. So I'm like, oh, let's give it a read for something to do. And then the last time was just reading it before bed to make sure I still liked it. I actually did like it. So I've read it my own book 4 times and I actually enjoyed it. And I hate reading my own books. Softbone, same thing. But yeah, you're going to love it. It's a different theme. It's the sci-fi version of it, but you'll like it. 4 times or twice though. Good on you. That's honestly the most humbling thing I could ever hear. That was done twice. Which, by the way, I actually have a short story epilogue to it. I call it The 2 Gay Military Funerals. Let me just pull it up. If you read The Dog Walker and you liked it, you might like to see this. It's a short story follow-up to it. There's the link to it. I mean, I could take this idea and expand it, but really, the Superman was good? That's good too. I'm hoping it ends up being like the Barbie of that one. Anyway, so here's the one. It's the follow-up to it. It's the, you know the character Laz, the boss? Well, he dies of lung cancer, and this is his funeral, where Rex goes there with his, and he's still dating the same girl, and he's going through his thing. It's kind of based loosely on some real events. But it's like most of the Dog Walker. There's been some scenes that were set up based on things that I've seen or heard in my life and other people's life happening. But for the most part, it's a fictional story. Same thing as this one. Like, there actually was a funeral from one of my military bosses. But it's not the same event. See, I never watched Battleship either. Maybe that's the thing. You actually enjoyed the new Superman? I'll have to give it a shot. Like I said, I don't watch new movies, but at the same time, Barbie was it fucking slapped. Dude, if you guys haven't watched Barbie, go watch it. Like, I'll tell you a story. And this is it. We'll lead off of this. Oh, that's the one here. I'll put it in the thing, so if you want to go read it. Yeah, so it'll be the follow through on this. I'll make sure it's not a locked story. They keep locking my stuff accidentally. Something to do with their access controls. So whatever. There we go. So my girl dragged me to it. It's like, I want to go watch it. I think it's going to be awesome. And I was like, oh, it's going to be shit. I don't want to watch it. It's just some woke nonsense. And it was so funny that by the halfway point in the movie, I was like leaning in. I'm like, dude, this is awesome. My girl was like, oh, this is fucking ridiculous. Yeah. So by like the girls who played with Barbies loved it. And then by the time you get through the halfway point, the guys are like, dude, this is awesome. It's kind of like RoboCop in the sense that their satire is so on point that it makes it entertaining outside of the IP that it's talking about. Like, it's not even a Barbie story at that point. And everything they did in there is like cringe shit. Like the chick from Ghostbusters that ruined that one. She's in this Barbie too. She plays a character that's like, you know when girls used to cut the hair of all their Barbie and draw things on it? She's like that Barbie, which was kind of funny. But yeah, then by the end, I was like, oh, dude, this is great. And the way I describe it now, it's a German existentialist rock opera. It really is. It's just fucking hilarious. Yeah, I'm telling you. And like, you got to walk in blank slate. Blank slate. That's the way it works the best. Don't learn anything about it. Just walk in plain. Just knowing, and like, just have that irritation that, dude, I'm watching a movie about a girl's doll. What the fuck is this? But then once you start to like watch it on its own terms, you're like, holy shit. Like little things, like Barbie is basically a 37-year-old woman playing Barbie, and you're like, that's interesting. You watch what they're doing. You watch all the characters they're trying to make into the heroes of the thing, and you're like, oh, it's kind of like some tragic hero shit. You're watching all the satirical takes of guys, and then they're like, they turn guys in like a caricature of what like feminists would think guys are, but it kind of makes them endearing in a way, and it gives them it gives them proper character arcs, and you're like, holy shit. Like if you were to, like, you know, it's kind of written, that it was written and directed as if it was propaganda, go women propaganda. But they execute it so badly or so well that it's an accidental masterpiece critique of it in a way that the story stands on its own merits. And I'm really hoping that like The Naked Gun is like that. Yeah, Starship Troopers. Yeah, satire that plays it straight. Thing with Starship Troopers though is it's a little too on the nose and too like obvious. This one is like just well done. It's not a Barbie. It's not even a Ken movie. It's just it's both the characters. Yeah, I know, you just have to watch it. Definitely worth. So I'm really hoping that the Naked Gun one gets there. Back in my day. Anyways, Nuke's starting his thing, so I want to leave you. The story, if you want to read it, the follow-up to Dog Walker, the two gay military funerals, or the gay two military funerals, however I worded it. It's a good follow-up on that. Laz dies, Rex goes to the funeral. Rex learns a lesson about holding on to the past. And my favorite part about it is like, because the character Laz is gay. And there's 3 groups of people that show up to his funeral. There is his like gay friends. There's the military people from his division that go there. And then there is like family. And I found it hilarious. The way I read it is like the military was gay. Everybody's like, the uniforms are ragged. They don't know what they're doing. They're basically like phoning it in, bear marching, all this shit. So the military guys that were there, they were fucking gay. The military guys there were like family, you know, loving, hugging, crying. And then the family there was all like wives with their strollers in tow, barking orders at their husbands, you know, get the bottle, get this, get that. And so like the families were militant, the military was gay, and the gays were like family. And I just found that, and I was just sitting there. And I'm like, dude, that works. I kind of liked it. So anyways, that's for you. You guys will enjoy it. That's it for me. I'm out. Go to Nuke's channel. He's going to be there. I won't have a chance to make it this time. I know I've been very, very lax on making it to Rule Zeros, but, you know, it's the summer. We'll do what we do. Just make sure you go watch it. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Oh, this is like a really good iPhone.
'79T 2458 Learning Corp. Little Red Riding Hood. Take 1.
40 years of my life is in the wire that's gone. Does that make sense?